Hello and welcome to another episode of Gaming Garnish. I'm your host Brad and I'm joined by Jake.
Hello.
Ben.
Hello.
And Joe.
Hello.
You'll notice I've skipped our usual question because we have got such a jam-packed episode. I don't want to waste any time.
We do indeed. Lots to come up.
lots. So let's get into what we've been playing. Joe, take us away.
Oh, me first. Is that because I already told you?
No, it's because you're left on the screen that I'm looking at. Going from left to right. So Ben, you might be next.
I was scrolling through Game Pass the other day.
Nice.
And I came across this game called Mullet, MadJack. And just from the game's thumbnail alone, I was like, this is going to be a game I enjoy. I can tell.
And also the game's title, to be fair.
Well, that too, yeah. It's basically 90s the game.
Nice. So
there's like Akira references, Doom references, Cyberpunk references, all sorts of stuff.
You mentioned this in the Discord, or is it in the WhatsApp?
Yeah,
in
Discord.
the
Discord.
Yeah. So explain to us what the game is.
So in the not so far future of the 1990s, people are tuned into this social network streaming platform where they supply you with 10 seconds of life worth of likes. So if you don't do something exciting within 10 seconds, you run out of life and you actually die.
Okay.
So you are tasked with saving a princess in inverted quotes, because it's just like another influencer who's been stolen by some robotic CEO guy.
Right.
So you've got to make a kill within 10 seconds to get through to the end of the level. Most of the levels are about, at least the ones I've done, are 40 seconds long. So if you don't shoot all the way through that, basically, you run out of time and then you die. Every level, you get a perk. So it's randomized, a bit like a roguelike game, but you keep them throughout all this level. So you can either get a new weapon, upgrade the weapon, upgrade your movement, upgrade the amount of time you get from a kill. There's loads of things that can happen, but it's the fastest shooter game I've ever played in my life.
It sounds 40 seconds a level.
Yeah.
It sounds like it'd be perfect for like a Switch or something.
Oh, yeah. It's even faster than RoboQuest, and you know how fast that was.
That was.
And
cool.
the hallways are all really tight, like the old Wolfenstein games. So you've got really low ceiling, really narrow walls, but stuff can come out of the walls. The floor can open up. You can slide over like acid and lava. And while you're sliding, you can do a kick sort of combo. If they hit a wall after you've kicked them, they explode.
Nice.
And as you're playing, your watchers can reward you with stuff. So if you're doing stuff really quickly, they reward you with like executions and like bonus time and points. And
it sounds like
so cool.
It sounds like the Running Man or something.
Very much so, yeah.
It's like the 90s as envisaged by the 80s.
I would say that's highly accurate, yeah.
Yeah, but nice. Yeah, that sounds really
just
cool.
the aesthetics of the whole game. It's adrenaline straight to your eyeballs. I would highly recommend playing it.
Nice. I'll definitely have a look at that.
It's only recently come out, hasn't it? Like last year or something?
Was it last year?
I think so.
I can't believe I hadn't seen it before.
Yeah, but I've seen it.
Just come on Game Pass though.
Maybe, yeah, but I remember seeing it. I think it might have been the the indie fest for that Steam.
Yeah.
I think I remember seeing it there because I remember the kick.
Oh yeah, and there's some levels where you're sliding down an escalator for ages, and there's dudes left and right of you, and you can kick them into one another to make a human chain that explodes at the bottom of the escalator.
You're not thinking of Anger for, are you, Jake?
There's that
which
as well.
is the other game with a lot of kicking.
There was 2 games of kicking apparently.
Yeah. Maybe it's meant to do with the feet.
Because this one's very
like
colourful,
feet.
Isn't it, and pixelated.
Yeah.
This isn't.
MadJack. Is it not?
No, it's more like, I want to say like vector graphics, like, but not like Star Fox. It's like they're 3D but not 3D, but they're not sprites and they're not pixelated.
Oh, okay.
I think I know what you mean. Yeah, I think it's still.
It looks like flat textures wrapped around a 3D thing, but it's not. It's not cell shaded. It's not like Borderlands. It's really hard to describe it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think it's still the same game that I was thinking of, but
yeah,
I think you put it better. Yeah,
you could describe it as
a film called They Live. The enemies look very much like the aliens out of that.
You could probably describe it as what the 80s thought games were going to look like in the 90s.
Maybe.
But it's got that sort of feel of everything's really light and has no weight to it. Like in Star Fox, you can see like through stuff because the edges haven't quite lined up. Okay. It's kind of like that.
But nice.
Well, 40 seconds a get a level. Yeah, go and have a go.
The bosses are really good as well.
Awesome.
There's a boss every 10 levels.
Nice. Have you been playing anything else then, or is that your...
Well, I was happy to discover that Enter the Gungeon had come back to Game Pass because I'd played it in the past and then it went off and I was like, I was really disappointed. But because I'd already had it downloaded, it then came back into my library. So I didn't have to re-download it again. So I looked at it, I was like, Enter the Gungeon's back on. I'll give that a few more.
I imagine it wouldn't have taken long to download if you needed to.
Well, no, it's not a massive game, but I forgot how charming that game is.
I can't say I've ever played it, maybe.
I think I downloaded it once to play it and completely forgot to play it.
The theming of it all is incredible. So you're a little pixel art sprite guy and you're fighting your way through this dungeon, which you're being shot at by bullets, which are holding guns which shoot bullets.
Yes.
There's some guns that shoot guns and some guns that shoot bullets which shoot guns which explode.
Wow.
And I love that the elevator is a bullet that goes further down the chamber, like into the next level.
Nice.
It's a roguelike, is it?
Yes. The levels are different every time. Yeah. And what you can pick up is different every time.
Yeah. And is it like isometric or sort of top down?
It's a bit like Binding of Isaac, that sort of view.
Yeah.
Like top down, but still a bit further back. Yeah. Nice. The artwork's great. There's just so many little details that other games need to have, like flipping a table in front of you for cover. They've got that in like a 2D sprite game. Why can't you do that in, like, I don't know, Halo?
Yeah,
be cool,
some games do, but it's not. It seems to be coming back. I think there's a few games recently I've seen that it
needs more interaction.
The Onimusha game,
yes, that's right.
Yeah, that showed it.
Sifu had it, didn't it? Where you could do stuff with the furniture.
Stuff with the furniture, but not necessarily like pulling a table out of cover.
Because you wouldn't really use cover, but you could kick a table over.
Yeah,
okay. I think.
At someone.
Yeah, but you couldn't. Yeah, you couldn't use it for cover because there wasn't a cover system.
Yeah.
But it was cool, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, short and sweet for me this week. That's all I've been playing.
All right. Well, what about you then, Ben?
Mine is probably shorter and sweeter.
Do not say Factorio.
Always Factorio.
even shorter and sweeter.
And a little bit more carry on my phone. That's about it. There's been other things on the side, obviously, the backlog game and whatnot, but... Yeah. And even the one after Backlog game, huh?
Oh well,
don't we know the inside?
So not much different from last week. You still enjoying Carry On?
I am. Yeah, I am. It's just fun ripping people apart.
In game or
a little bit of both.
Nice.
Yeah, that's about it. Sorry, bit dull.
No, it's all right. What about you then, Jake?
Pretty much the same, to us.
So boring.
It's going to be a very quick what we're playing section. Probably for the best.
Probably. Yeah.
Wait, didn't you just start XCOM 2?
No, I didn't. No. That was a joke in the Discord, guys. I'm not starting it again. Not yet, anyway. I did play a bit more Baldur's Gate. I'm actually on the last mission now. So done all the side stuff. Saved it outside. Like, you know what it says basically? Like
the point of no return.
Yeah.
So I've saved it there. And we've just got to schedule some time.
Got to schedule 3 hours of uninterrupted
basically
time.
You're going to feel hollow when that game's over. You're like, what do I do?
It's like a proper D&D session. Scheduling's the worst.
the hardest boss.
Yeah. But that's been really good. And then I've started Animal Well, but I don't really want to talk about it until I've finished it.
Well, it goes off PlayStation Plus next week, end of next week.
Yes,
you better finish it quick.
So you've got till then to finish it.
Yeah, it was actually quite funny because I was on the cusp of starting Cyberpunk, like literally. And then Brad just texted me saying, by the way, Animal Well goes off a PlayStation Plus on, was it April 12th or 15th?
I want to say 15th, yeah.
And then I just texted him back like, for God's sake. So
too many things holding you back from Night City.
There is. But I'm over halfway, I think. So.
It's not a huge game, so you'll get it done hopefully by the time it goes off. So you'll talk about it next episode.
I'll have my thoughts next time.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, I did go on a stag do because our podcast is
Stag do adjacent.
Apparently stag do adjacent after last episode. Where I did some shooting as well, but maybe not as only clay pigeon shooting and archery. So real world
and you won
Skyrim. I won archery and axe throwing. Nice. Yes.
It's actually God of War. There. You've played more God of War than Joe. Well,
yeah, that's true.
But yeah, that was cool. Nice. But that's me.
Right, just me then. So last episode I teased that I'd been playing Astro Bot.
You did.
And I've not finished it, but I am actually pretty close now. I've played it quite a lot. Funnily enough, this weekend, I've managed to dig down and actually play quite a lot.
Good stuff.
So I think I'm on the last universe, galaxy.
Like quadrant.
Yeah, the last galaxy I'm on. Yeah, really enjoying it. Definitely echo all the sentiments that you and Ben had, Jake. It feels like a toy.
Yes.
It feels like a toy, but then also it feels like, those roller coasters you go on. I don't really want to call them roller coasters, but the ones where you sit in sit in your vehicle and you go around the tracks and it's like things, or there'll be like a scene play out.
Like a ghost train.
Like a ghost train. Yeah. Funnily enough, there are actually like spooky levels in Astro Bot, and it feels like you're on a ghost train.
Yeah, it does.
It's like an interactive ghost train type ride.
Especially the ones where you have to shoot.
Yeah,
the controller.
Yeah. So it just really feels like a joy to play.
Has it got a feel of Little Big Planet about it?
A little bit. Yeah. I would say so. The thing with Little Big Planet is you're kind of doing the same thing all the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas at least in this, it changes quite a lot. It doesn't change as much as I actually expected it to.
No?
I'm finding, in my mind, I think I'd played it up to be every level was going to have a different mechanic.
Yeah, it kind of like, there's a few different mechanics, isn't there, throughout the game? I'd maybe even say like 15.
I don't even
maybe
know if I'd
not
say
that
15.
Much, but it reuses those mechanics in different ways for the levels. So you learn new things about those mechanics.
And I think I just I had different expectations going in. I think I was thinking there'll be a lot more. So I'm kind of getting to the point now, I'm getting some of them again, like the dog one or the chicken one, where they're just basically either a dash forward or a dash up. And like, this is a little bit boring.
I mean,
it feels great.
Yeah.
But you're not doing anything too exciting, which is fine once or twice, but I'm finding they're the ones that are repeating more than the more interesting ones. You know what I mean?
I get what you mean, but
and there was
I still think for a game like this, I mean, I think about Crash Bandicoot, and I love Crash Bandicoot, but you are doing the same thing every time.
No, don't get me wrong. Yeah, I agree. I think I just expected something a bit different. And some of the levels, like especially the end levels of a galaxy, have their own mechanic that is only ever used in that level.
Yes.
And sometimes they're more exciting than some of the ones you get.
Because they harken back to games usually.
Yeah.
So there's like a God of War one.
Yeah. But I'm thinking like the one that was given free with the PS4, there was some in that I preferred to some of the ones that are in this game, like the Gatling gun, for example, was quite good fun.
Yeah.
And at least so far, I've not had the Gatling gun in this. I don't think I do.
Yeah, I don't think it's in it.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
No, it's just little things like that. Some of them, I really like the sponge one, but I've only done that once.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's like the odd ones that you get like once, and some of them you get too much, in my opinion.
I get what you mean.
That would probably be my only sort of downside if I was.
I'm trying to think like if the sponge came up more often, I think it would lose its luster.
And maybe that's the feeling I'm getting for some of these other ones, because they have come up quite a lot.
Yeah,
I'm like, this again.
I really enjoyed the size shrinking.
Yeah, but I can't. I've only had that once.
Yeah,
I know what you mean. I think there's a couple, maybe two. I think there's maybe two.
So maybe there's another one coming up. But you know what I mean? I've not had them. Some of the more interesting ones I've had less.
Yeah,
but it is what it is. And it also hasn't been as. This is going to make you laugh. It's not been as hard as I expected it to be.
No,
but not in terms of the general levels.
Yeah,
the quote-unquote hard levels haven't been as hard as I expected them to be. So I messaged you for...
The challenge run levels.
Yeah, so there was the face button level. So you've got triangle, circle, square, and X. And my impression was that the last one you unlock, which is X, would be the hardest.
I think me and Ben just bigged it up.
Yeah, I was expecting it to be quite hard. Well, what do you mean, the big ramp?
Well, you said they had trouble timing getting off the end of like a slope.
Oh, the armadillo. Well, again, I messaged EJ because I was expecting a hard armadillo level to come up. Yeah. And I'm assuming you were just talking about the first armadillo level because it's the only one.
There's one with spikes. No, there's definitely more.
There's one in the main game, and then there's one in the face buttons.
Yes, I think it might be in the main game bit then. But I don't know.
So far, the armadillo ones, I'm waiting for the hard one. But even the X ones, the quote unquote hardest ones, one of them I did on my first go, 2 of them I did on my second go. One of them took about 10 goes.
Are you humble bragging about beating a
I'm humble bragging. No, because I'm not usually good at these sort of games. But I think I just expected it to be harder. But there's still the ultimate challenge I've not got to yet.
Well, you might struggle with the very last one.
Ultimate challenge.
If you get all the bots, that is.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully. Yeah, I'm not saying it was, too easy. And maybe because I expected it to be harder, I really locked in for those ones.
Yes.
I think the hardest one I had was, on the square. It was like a lava-based one.
Oh, with a duck.
And the duck, that splashed water. But the only reason I found that was hard is that it was a bit unpredictable because the water would solidify the molten lava, but it was a bit unpredictable where it was going because it was like splashing all over the place. So
I literally just sprayed and prayed and just ran.
Well, because I was running quick as well. Sometimes I'd say jump and I would land before the water droplet landed.
Yes.
And it just felt a bit unpredictable. But
I know what this is about.
Yeah.
Because of the last, what game was it? When he was, it's too hard all the way through the episode. He's trying, Tunic. There you go. That's what it is. He's trying to go, no, I can play these kind of games. I just don't.
Don't know what you're on about.
Nice one, Ben.
Someone actually put me off playing Atomfall the other day because they told me it was a hard game. I said, I don't have time for hard games.
I've not heard it's a hard game.
No,
I thought it was going to be like Fallout when they said, no, it's more like Stalker.
Okay. To be fair, I have heard it's not quite. Yeah, I've heard it's more like Metro than Fallout.
You don't get a lot of bullets, I believe, but you can melee everyone.
It's not my kind of game.
Yeah, you can avoid a lot of combat, I believe.
Where's the fun in that?
Well, true.
I want to blow mutants' head off.
Back to Astrobot. Enjoying it.
Good.
I'm definitely going to finish it. I'll probably try and get most, if not all, the bots. See how many I've got at the end.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, really, really enjoying it.
Nice one.
Other than that, I'll tease probably my next game. Me and Lucy have finished Cyberpunk. Really enjoyed it. Went for the same ending as I did last time because I googled them all and I was like, the others are too depressing. So I went for the happy ending.
Did you? Are you talking about the Phantom Liberty one or the other one?
No, the ending and the main ending.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I finished that now. So we went for the Nomad ending,
the Pan Am ending.
Yeah, because it's the only. Yeah. Hopeful one.
Did you bring Judy along?
We didn't romance Judy, so she left. Yeah, we did. Lucy wanted to do River, so when I say do River, I mean do River.
Yeah.
And then
you could have saved her from Night City.
I know. Well, she leaves anyway.
I know.
But then River doesn't leave, so
yeah.
But it was, it is what it is. So we've finished that and we've moved on to Split Fiction, but we're not that far through Split Fiction. So I'll get to that probably on the next episode.
Interested to hear about that.
Yeah. So far, so good, but not that far through.
No worries.
So with what we've been playing out the way.
That was probably the quickest one we've ever done.
I think it needed to be because this new section is hench. We're going to start off with some normal news and then we'll get to the inevitable Nintendo stuff at the back end.
I'll bring us in first with a Badoo. It's the news.
There we go. So, what's the normal news?
The normal news.
News for normies.
Yeah.
Take this with a pinch of salt. We do like salt. There's rumours of a new God of War side game coming this year.
Yeah.
Now this comes from Jeff Grubb.
Yeah, who's pretty prominent in the industry.
He is indeed. He is indeed. There has been a lot of rumours earlier in the year about a potential remaster of the first 3 God of War games. And a lot of people thought that they were going to be showing that at like the anniversary. What is it? How many year anniversary?
20th, I want to say.
Something like that, yeah. But then Jeff Grubb's come out and said, actually, I've heard that it's actually a side game that we're going to get this year, but it's still set in that time or in that
the
pantheon
Greek
in
mythology.
the Greek mythology.
So it's back to Greece.
Yeah. So what that means, I don't know.
No, there's a lot of speculation. Have they said
There's already like 3 side games set in Greece, isn't there?
Yeah.
Well, has Jeff Grubb said who's working on it?
I don't believe so.
So it's probably not Santa Monica. I've heard a lot of rumors they might do a sort of Prince of Persia, Lost Crown-esque.
Well, I think that's more like speculation.
Yeah.
Where like they'll try a different genre. Yeah.
Yeah, because as Joe said, there has been side games set in that.
There has, and it would be interesting to see a God of War game in a completely different genre.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's about Kratos.
No. I'll be interested to see if they did go back to that time frame, if they would consider going back to the original gameplay style. And even if they do the remasters, are they going to remaster them in the same style, or are they going to try?
I would hope so, just to keep it the same.
Yeah.
I just hope it doesn't end up being a base builder. You rebuild Greece after you destroyed it. Go out and collect resource, but as a twin stick shooter.
It's literally what I would play.
Well,
I guess we'll see. Whether it's a prequel or set in the timeline now,
whether it even happens,
yeah, we will have to wait.
Canon? That's the question.
I assume so. Can only assume. So that's interesting. Now, April Fool's has just been.
Oh, I'm still getting things about that now.
The worst part about April Fool's is the stuff you see afterwards when you're not thinking it's April Fool's.
Yes, because then you say, "Oh, it's like 5 days ago." Like, God damn it!
Yeah.
I think they should take it down after a day because it gets a bit ridiculous. But I did hear about one which I thought was an April Fool's until I actually heard it's a proper game, and it's from the Pal World guys. It's called Pal World, more than just pals.
Hell yeah!
Is this
my God, Lord.
It's a rabbit.
It's a Pal World dating sim.
Yeah.
So look forward to that.
They actually did this for an April Fool's joke. Was it last year?
I believe so.
And now obviously they're making it into a proper game.
It got traction. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Why you'd want that, I don't know. But hey ho, it's a thing.
Hey, there's that dating sim where you can date household objects. Why not? You can date concepts.
Yes, true. I've seen it. I wonder if there's any paedophile creatures like Typhlosion in Pokemon.
Oh my God.
Hopefully not, because that would not, should not be in a game. But
I feel like April Fool's, just every year there's a new romance game that comes out of it, and it always becomes a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Well, I did see, actually, funnily enough, that ROG, Asus ROG, are teasing a new ROG Ally. And that was teased on April 1st. But
was the ROG Ally XXX?
Well, no. Even bigger. They did it, I think when they announced the ROG Ally X, or maybe the original ROG Ally, they did that on April 1st. So people are like, it's actually common for them to do this. So
How strange.
We'll see.
Maybe it was because the Nintendo one was the day after.
Maybe.
Which we'll get to.
I feel like the best April Fool's one I've seen, though, was way back in the 360 days, where it was published in the 360 magazine. Mm-hmm. And it was a travel pack which gave you a massive battery for the bottom of it, and where the hard drive plugged in, it was like a screen adapter, so you could flip it up like the old PS1 screen.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's actually really doable. And they never made it. And then I read that the magazine was released on April 1st. I was like, oh, fuck, I really wanted that. It was really good.
Pokemon Go was an April Fool's.
Originally, yeah.
Yes.
A lot of stuff
jokes on all of us. It's stolen our data.
Yes. I know Razer always does some good ones. And they've done some funny ones in the past.
They often release the stuff that they're showing off.
They have done, yeah.
Which is funny. Well,
toaster. They did a toaster one, yeah.
Wow. With lights.
Yeah, I think so. RGB.
Nice. So other than that, there's been one other small thing. Do you remember that Mind's Eye game made by the ex-Rockstar dev?
Yes.
Leslie
Benzies.
That has a release date now of June 10th. So coming way sooner than I thought. I was expecting like a year or two.
One about AI robots.
Yeah. It kind of looked like a GTA type game, but set in the near future. I think
Yeah. So
with weird looking driving.
Very interested to see how that goes down, and it's only 2 months off. So
I'm very curious.
Sooner rather than later. Yeah. Keep it in your
Calendar. Oh.
Proud of that one, aren't you?
I thought of it just now. Great
His joy is overflowing.
So should we get into the Nintendo stuff, which I think is going to take over the next hour of time?
Yes, but let's not start with the Switch 2.
Yeah, so there was actually, out of nowhere, Nintendo decided to do a Nintendo Direct less than a week before the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct.
Yeah, so the Switch 2 Direct was scheduled months ago, weren't it?
Yes.
Came around way quicker than anyone expected it to.
Definitely.
But then this was like slide in beforehand. So
It was. So they showed a few things, and I haven't written everything down for this, so I'm not going to go over everything, but I've got some highlights to show. So it opened up with, I think we got last year, the Dragon Quest 3 HD remake, while Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD remake is still coming this year, apparently. Looks good. I think it's got extra content as well. I just really like the way they've redone these ones because it looks quite beautiful.
It does.
They've kept the same sort of style.
Is it 16-bit or 32-bit graphics era that it came out?
Yeah, basically.
Really nice sprites.
Definitely.
We're not too simplified.
Which is interesting that other people don't do stuff like that. I'd quite like to see some of the older Final Fantasies redone like that.
I wonder how many bits were on these days.
How many bits?
Yeah.
64.
Is that that's boring.
Architecture on most things.
That is boring.
Yeah.
I was expecting it to be like, you talk about pixels, graphics, 32-bit, and then it was 64-bit, and then it'd be 128-bit, and now we'd be on like 1 million and something bits. But that's boring.
You've deflated him now, Joe. Way to go.
Do you remember that Pac-Man Metroidvania?
Oh, was that show?
Yeah,
they showed a bit more.
Shadow something, is it called?
Yeah, Shadow Labyrinth.
That's the one.
So that was shown a bit more. And
That looks really good. I'm going to get that.
It's coming out July 18th, so it's sort of
Quite
soon.
soon. Is that exclusive to Switch? Or
I don't believe so. I think it's coming out on other stuff too. I wonder if it's going to go the same way as a secret level episode.
Well,
because that's what it looks like. It's
in
based
some of the
off.
trailers, it does do that thing that it does in the secret level episode where it consumes him and becomes like a massive black orb.
Yeah. So
it's a bit creepy. I mean, I'd be interested to see how it goes.
I'm just more interested to see. I might just Google the story as soon as it comes out.
I have a feeling the story's going to be a bit like, do you remember Infinity Blade, where each time you get to the end and you get beaten, and then you get a little bit further towards the end and you get beaten, and it takes a really long time to beat, but you get so close every time.
Sounds like a roguelike.
I think it might be.
I've never played it.
It sounds like a cool concept.
To be fair, they've got to bring it forward, haven't they? Because how many times can you release a yellow blob eating pills?
Yeah, but do they have to?
Do they have to go this?
You could just leave Pac-Man.
The last step forward was making a multiplayer, and that was amazing.
Well, true. I mean, that worked, but imagine if the next Tetris is open world. It just doesn't work.
Like Minecraft.
Yeah, just leave Tetris as Tetris, which they are doing.
Funnily enough, I keep getting advertised this Pac-Man experience that you can go do in Manchester, I think.
Oh, yeah, that looks really
like
fun.
a Zorb or something like that. That would be cool.
No, I mean, that would be cool, but you aren't. You're literally just wearing a Pac-Man badge, and I think you're physically walking around the maze, but the maze is just on the floor, so I don't know what's stopping you from walking over the walls.
Oh,
it'd be the ankle tag.
The ankle tag. Oh no! What happens if we get eaten?
If they did it in a Zorb, that would be mint. You're rolling around, and then the ghosts are maybe also in different coloured Zorbs.
Sharp ones.
We need to make our own Pac-Man experience because that sounds pretty cool.
Legally distinct Pac-Man. No.
Yes,
Zorb
Man. So, Metroid Prime 4. Right in the middle of the direct, I thought they would end on this one. We got a very small but a good look at Metroid Prime 4 Beyond.
It looks good.
Yeah, Samus has psychic powers now.
Because why not?
Because why not? And it looks like you can like shoot the bullets and almost move them with your psychic powers.
Wanted style.
Yeah, spin the bullet.
So that sounds cool. And then I think it'll be a lot of the I suppose I know it's not like a proper Metroidvania, but it sort of is in 3D.
Did they show off that you can use the mouse to aim as well? Is that part of that?
We're getting ahead of ourselves. That, yeah. But yes, they did show that you could do that.
Yeah.
I mean, might as well talk about it now. We'll get to it a bit later, but yes, they did show that you could aim with the new Switch 2 Joy-Cons. in mouse mode, which looked pretty cool. A few people got hands on with it as well. It looks pretty good. New suits. Looks very nice.
Yes.
You can tell it's still a Switch game. That makes sense.
I know what you mean.
So.
Even though it's 4K 60 FPS, you can still tell.
Yeah. Yeah. But it does look good. I mean, I wasn't expecting it to look this good. So the fact that it does, pretty cool. Yeah. It's like Zelda, how Zelda looks.
See, maybe obviously not on the Switch OG. I kind of didn't expect them to show it on the Switch OG. I thought they would just show it on, wait a week and show it.
Yeah, agree.
Switch 2 announcement. But I expected it, to be honest, to look better than it did graphically anyway, because thinking next gen hardware, it looks like, even when you see it on the Switch 2, yes, it's 4K 60, but that doesn't come across so much in like trailers. Yeah, it just kind of looks. I
think it looks all right for what it's
fine
for a Switch game. It looked great
for a Switch game, but
if it came out on something else, I would be a bit.
Yeah, but also it is coming out on something else. Switch 2.
Yeah.
So this is what I mean. Like, you can't use for a Switch game so much anymore.
Yeah, but I suppose it's been held back on the Switch.
Yeah. Which is, fine.
Yeah. I mean, I'd probably still get it because it does look good.
I'll definitely be getting it. I was really on the fence about it when it was first shown. Was it last year? At the end of last year? And I was like, I don't know about it. But now seeing it now, I was like, yeah, that looks like a great game.
Cool.
Nice.
It probably will be good.
Yeah. Definitely. They showed a bit more Pokemon ZA. They showed a day and night cycle. They've actually shown kind of why it's called ZA now, because at night time, that's when all the battling happens and you get in
start at Z rank.
Yes, you start at Z rank and you go up to A rank.
This system actually made me really come around to want to play it now. Because I was a bit like before thinking, it's taking a step back. They're getting rid of the free roam and the wild zone is like set in the city. But now it all makes sense. So they have to set those zones to do different things.
I get you. It got me a slight bit more hopeful because the last Legends game, Arceus, didn't have... It had a couple of trainer battles, but like they were the bosses. You didn't really battle in it.
There was no gyms.
Like the wild animals, wild Pokemon.
If you put a Z in anything, it makes it cool.
It does. Like Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, but you start at Z, then you have to go up to A, so you just won't play
so you start off cool, it's fine.
Yeah. You start off cool, you just
don't try.
Usually S rank is better than A rank.
I know.
Now
it's not. You go up into numbers eventually.
Yeah. You just stop at S rank.
Yeah.
Are there still going to be gyms, or is there just this rank system now?
I think it's just the rank system.
It's not a proper quote-unquote Pokemon game.
Yeah, it's not mainline.
Yeah. So,
is it not? I thought it was like the next Sword and Shield.
No, it's the next Arceus.
It's the next Legends.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's the next Legends game, which has become its own spin-off series now, I suppose.
When Legends Arceus came out, I never actually played it, but it made me more excited for the next mainline. Then they ignored all the improvements they made.
Yes,
they did
implement them. So this one is making me, again, I don't really want to play this one, but it's making me excited for the next one.
I think when they made Legends Arceus, they were also making Scarlet and Violet in the background.
They're probably doing that now, though.
It came out the same year, I believe.
Yeah, it did, I think.
It was ridiculous.
But they're doing the same.
But they kind of, sounds like to me, they test out their new mechanics in these Legends games. And then whatever they like, they bring over to
does that mean
all the stuff that we liked didn't get kept?
Yeah.
Well, this is what I mean. The next game, Gen 10 or whatever it is, might keep some stuff from Arceus,
but not from ZA.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I don't know. I might not even be in a position to play a new Pokemon game. We'll see.
Rhythm Heaven is back.
Rhythm Heaven?
I can't even say it. It's a tongue twister for me, apparently.
Rhythm Heaven.
Heaven Groove. A new game. I don't think there's been a new game since...
It was on DS, I think, last.
DS, yeah.
Maybe 3DS?
I've actually never heard of it.
No, me neither.
It's like it's
a rhythm game.
Yeah.
You usually just press one button, though, and it's really tight timing on them.
Whoa.
Yeah. Is it like the WarioWare guys?
Kind of,
originally. Yeah, it's kind of like a lot of mini games, but it's all rhythm based.
Okay.
There was. I remember
a whole
back,
demonstration on it where something was walking. I was like, it's really hard to make this jump
Yes.
Then when they put the music in and like other characters, it made it like, oh, now I can get into the swing of it.
Get into the groove.
Yeah, the groove.
The rhythm.
Well, it's called groove.
Oh.
There you go.
The rhythm.
Get into the heaven of it. No?
But you're very interesting that they're bringing one out. I remember back when Smash Bros. Brawl came out, or was coming out, or even Smash Bros. 4, that they were heavily teasing one of them, or there was loads of rumours about a Rhythm Heaven character being in the game.
I genuinely do not remember.
That's the only reason I know.
Literally know
what it is.
it.
You know, rhythm games don't appeal to me, really.
No, me neither.
And
Guitar Hero.
Guitar Hero.
Well, I was going to say other than Guitar Hero and Rock Band, but like even, what's it called? The Xbox one.
Does not narrow it down.
Hi-Fi Rush.
Oh, Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah. Like, I loved everything about the game other than having to keep time. And I like music. You know, I play guitar.
Yeah.
Timing isn't my, expertise, but it's like, I don't know.
That's the action element to it, at least.
I always feel like it's holding me back. Funnily enough, there was a mission in Astro called Rhythm something or other.
Yeah.
And it was all about keeping rhythm, but I just ignored the rhythm because it still
you
was
didn't
fine.
have to. Yeah, you didn't.
You really didn't have to. Yeah. Found it harder to try and keep.
Is that the one you got the symbols? The monkey with the symbols?
No, I don't think I've had monkey with symbols.
That's a different. Yeah.
Spoilers.
Okay. Yeah.
There you go. You haven't got to that one yet.
I've not got to that one. Soon, probably. I've only got like 4 levels left.
Now, I found this one interesting because these two games have come from PlayStation and they're kind of PlayStation IPs. So Patapon was a PSP game. I think there was 2 of them.
Okay.
They're
both
coming to Switch, and everybody's golf is getting a new game on the Switch as well. Just thought it was quite interesting.
Was Everybody's Golf a PlayStation game?
Yeah, it's
it
PlayStation
looks so
IP.
much like it was for Wii.
I know.
I know loads of people who used to play that, but I have no interest in golf.
It's not about golf, man. It's about everybody else.
But it's clearly all about us and what we like right now. So can you not?
But I just found it very interesting. They're obviously PlayStation clearly aren't doing anything with those IPs, so at least they're letting them come to something else.
And I also
it
feel
feels
like,
more appropriate.
Yes, 100%. It feels like if they're going to find a bigger audience anywhere, it's going to be on Nintendo systems. So,
Definitely.
Yeah,
it's like how Mario Strikers is so much better than FIFA. Everybody's Golf is better than, what is it, PGA Golf Pro Tour.
Yes.
It's just more fun. There's random elements, things can...
I do agree.
Like golf with friends, that's really good.
Yeah, but
yeah,
you could say to someone who plays FIFA all the time, if I gave you a better FIFA that was just better in every way, but didn't have the players and teams, they wouldn't take it.
Yeah, I see what you... Yeah,
unfortunately. Because that's why they're there. They're not there because they love playing games. They're there because they love FIFA. And it's they love football, and it's another way for them to interact with that.
Yeah, I get that. To be fair, it's like a Marvel, I suppose. Which brings me to Marvel Cosmic Invasion.
This looks really good.
I really like the look of this. So it's made by the TMNT guys, Shredder's Revenge.
Yeah.
2D beat 'em up. Loads of characters.
Is it the same team who's doing that Power Rangers game? Is that the same guys?
I believe so.
That also look really good.
They're on a tear.
Seems like a strange selection of characters.
So it's, what is it? I think it's Captain America, Spider-Man, Wolverine, Venom, Storm.
Yeah.
And then I think it had Nova in it and Quasar.
Who the hell is Quasar?
You haven't seen Quasar yet, but a big character in the comics.
I can't believe they put Nova in it. That is like a massively overpowered character to be getting beaten up by thugs.
Yeah, I think what they've done is they've picked a few like Avengers, and obviously Spider-Man, and then a couple of X-Men.
Yeah, true.
And then they've picked 2 space characters. Instead of going with Guardians characters, they've just gone Nova and Quasar.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
I always find it strange that Storm is always like the first pick, or the second pick for an X-Men. It's always Wolverine and then Storm.
Not Cyclops.
Yeah, I always see it as Cyclops or Magneto or Professor X, but it'd be a bit...
I think Professor X and Magneto especially... I mean, Magneto's usually the villain, but Professor X would be hard to play as.
Just mind control.
No, he can drift.
Yeah. Well, I'm more thinking the mind control would be a bit boring, to be honest. If that's
and he's
all
usually
do.
just in the background.
Yeah. Storm, I mean, it's a very cool character.
Definitely.
Very cool set of abilities. It's just strange that it is always Wolverine and Storm.
Yeah.
Or Gambit. He's in a lot of stuff.
True.
I do like Gambit though.
Yeah.
Bring me more Gambit.
Yeah. What does he say in Deadpool?
My name's Jeff accent.
Basically.
Interesting that I did think it was a bit weird that Captain America's in it and no like Iron Man as well.
Yeah.
He just
that's what I mean. It's just
on his lonesome.
A bit of a strange cast of characters together.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Cool. I'd probably get this because it looks really good and I do like to play a good beat 'em up now and again.
Cool.
So did look good. Something interesting that Nintendo were doing are virtual game cards, which they showed off in this direct as well.
I think this is a really interesting idea. You're right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a book club for within your own family subscription.
Yeah, so it sounds like you have to have the Switch Online family.
You have to have a family, whether or not you need to Switch.
You have to have a family.
Oh no!
All singletons out there.
I know.
I mean, you have to have a family set up on.
Yes.
On the
well,
Nintendo platform,
not necessarily, because I do the family subscription with a few people I went to uni with.
But you can only trade these virtual games. So the idea is you buy a digital game, and you can loan that game digitally to someone else. Whilst it's loaned, you can't play it. They can play it. They can play it offline. They don't need to keep connecting to the internet, but they've got 14 days essentially to.
Or you can set up to 14 days.
And then after 14 days, they'll probably give it them back. Or
I think it just automatically comes back.
Yeah, and you can probably give it them back.
Which I really like the idea of. I know why they haven't done it outside the family. Because
so what I was going to say there is you can only do it to people within your Nintendo family.
Yeah.
Subscription.
Which is up to 6 people, is it? 4 people?
I think so. I think you can do 4.
8.
4.
8? I think you have to buy additional
less than 10.
Less than 10 anyway.
Yes.
So
Gaming Garnish, we're always accurate.
But you might have been more on the money with 6.
But you can't. It wouldn't make sense to do it to anyone because you just have people online being, "Can anyone loan me this?"
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Reddit would have a field day.
But I like it. I think it's a really good idea. So long as you can keep lending people games as well, because not everyone has time to finish something in 14 days.
Definitely.
But like there's games that I've got digitally that I'd quite like you to play, Jake. But you can't because
Steam Deck.
Well, you can set up it like on every other console. I can set my console up to be your primary console, for example.
Yes.
But then that would mean you can only play games on your Switch if you're online, which, let's face it, most of the time you're traveling when you're playing the Switch.
Yeah.
But at least this way you can still play those games offline. So I think it's a really good idea.
I do too. I don't know if you have to buy the online subscription to get it to work. That does seem like a bit of a
question mark.
What do you mean the online expansion subscription?
I don't know.
The one you have to pay for.
Yeah.
You will. Because that's what the family one is. It's that.
Yeah.
Does everyone have to have it then? Yeah.
Well, I think what you do is somebody pays for it and it's kind of set up as if like a dad buys it and for him and his kids.
Yes.
And then you just set up the Nintendo, whatever it is, the ID codes for which accounts are linked to that.
But you can do it with friends, like Joe's saying.
How much is that?
I think it's like 50 quid for the year.
It's not bad, is it?
It's not so bad. It's not so bad.
No, if you got 6 people.
Yeah.
And then if you want to upgrade it to have like your Mario Kart DLC, it becomes like 60 quid.
Yeah. Fair enough.
You want to know where it is free? Steam Deck.
Yeah. Not the Nintendo Family Pass, though. That's not free on Steam Deck.
No. But
so I'm assuming
anybody in your family can just access your library. So
you can, but only online, I believe. So you have to be connected.
Tried it yet.
On a PC, you connected online. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you're on a Steam Deck, you might not be. So I've tried it a little bit, but I've not tried it offline.
Oh, now Sophia's going to have to buy a game and I'll have to try it.
Yeah.
Cool. The last thing they showed, the one more thing, was I'm hoping I say this right. Tamagotchi Life? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I think it was I thought it was Tamagotchi Life.
No, there was a Tamagotchi game.
Was there?
There was another one. That was a completely separate thing.
That's where you're building up a town.
It's called Living the Dream, and I didn't know what the hell was going on here, but a lot of people seemed happy in the comments about this game coming back.
Life became a huge meme, and then everyone actually loved it.
Yeah.
It's a really good game.
Is it a good game? I thought it wasn't meant to be great, but it just got a cult following.
No, it's like The Sims.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like The Sims for me's.
Yeah, basically. And because you can do so much with me's to make them look ridiculous and hilarious, and you can make celebrities and you have them all live together. And
there was a lot of like text to speech talking.
Yes.
Which just makes me giggle sometimes. I don't know why. It's just how ridiculous it sounds. But it just looked ridiculous.
It's weird that was the one more thing and not Metroid.
I want to know how a person got giant at the end.
It would look like a
perspective trick, didn't they?
Yeah. So it was funny.
So that was the first Switch.
Well, actually, to be fair,
Nintendo
that was the one more thing, but they did show something at the end as well. Another one more thing.
Okay.
And it was about the Nintendo Today app.
Oh, yes.
That's a calendar, isn't it?
So it's basically a Nintendo calendar app that tells you about new announcements. So they're going to announce new things in it.
Yeah, so they've already actually announced the release date for the live-action Zelda film.
On the app, yeah.
On the app, which is 2027, but I can't remember the date.
Yeah, I think it's 2020, probably like June 2027.
Yeah, that rings a bell. So it's cool that they'll announce stuff through the app, but I'll probably just wait till someone then shares that online.
Unfortunately, I was just going to say, I'm only going to find out when somebody else tells me.
Yeah, because I've got no
link to the clock they've made.
Maybe.
So the news can come through that clock.
Yeah.
So Mario will wake you up in the morning.
Yeah,
time Zelda's coming out in 2027.
Yeah. Maybe.
And he'll say that until 2027.
Yes.
465 days until.
Nice one. So yeah, you were right. That was the end of the first Direct that Nintendo showed. And then I think it was like 6 days later.
Yeah. The big one.
Was the big Switch 2 Direct that we've all been looking forward to.
I may or may not have watched at work.
Me too.
Nor deny.
So, should we just jump straight into it?
I think the way we should tackle this is start with the Direct.
Yep.
And then talk about what happened afterwards.
The aftermath.
So which to anyone listening who doesn't know, it's probably like, what has gone on?
Yes. Because the Direct itself was really good.
Yeah.
The last one was a bit... The first Direct they did was okay. It was a bit...
Well, the first Switch 2 Direct.
No, the Direct a week ago.
Oh, yeah. It
was okay.
Yeah.
But we're all looking forward to this one.
This was the big one. Yeah. So when it started, did they open with Mario Kart?
They did. So they opened with Mario Kart World.
Yeah. So that's the new Mario Kart. It looks like more Mario Kart.
It does, but it does look like they're adding a lot of stuff. So obviously they showed off that like there's going to be standard Grand Prix.
24 races at a time.
Yes, which is mental. The tracks look massive.
They look far too wide.
Yes.
Well, it's so you can.
It's like you don't even have to steer.
People. Yeah.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, to be fair, but I reckon they probably get a bit tighter. Hopefully.
Yeah, because if they're too wide, it's not going to feel fun to play.
Yeah, I did see some side-by-side gameplay of that. The first Mario circuit in Mario Kart 8, and then the one they showed in the trailer. The one in Mario Kart 8, I think actually looked like a better track.
Okay.
I know there was less players, but there was more players passing one another. Whereas in this, it just looked like nothing was going on around them.
The thing is, everyone kind of goes the same
how big
speed.
The track is.
Yeah, everyone kind of goes the same speed in Mario Kart. You know what I mean? You've pretty
you
quickly
need those
hit
tight turns to be able to catch up to people.
Yeah, and to make it.
To be fair, I mean, you can actually optimize your car weirdly by changing the parts and stuff.
No, you can't. Not in Mario Kart World.
Can you not
actually come out and say
no? It's specific cars only.
Yes,
so you can't customize parts.
So they've got rid of the customization.
That was like the best bit.
Yeah. So the different cars probably have different stats.
Waluigi
on Mr. Scooty set with tiny wheels just trumps everything else.
To be fair, I used to just be Metal Mario on like a bike or something.
They have announced like 50 characters as well so far.
Yeah, they do look
just like a fish.
loads of characters, loads of different carts, but they just
it looks almost like you can change cart mid-race as well.
I didn't get that.
You can change like costume mid-race, and I'm sure the carts changed a bit as well.
Oh, I didn't notice them doing that.
Yeah.
You've got like you did on the last one where you can get your glider and you can go upside down and stuff where your cart changes, but you can also go on water now, so you can get like boats and stuff.
Yeah, so it's not like going underwater necessarily. Sometimes you get on, it changes into a boat.
So you've got like the Sonic All-Star Racing transformed.
Yeah, you can also... There's also...
they did seem to lean into a freestyle looking thing, so they were doing
tricks
off ramps
grinding and stuff.
Yeah.
That all looks
seems to
quite
have lent
cool,
that way.
Yeah, so you could... I think you can like flick and jump to the side of a building or something and start racing on that.
Okay.
And then flip off when you want. It's like you can
got
do
more
like
control.
tricks. You got more control of it all.
That could be cool. Maybe that's how they get around
how wide it is.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but the big thing they showed was that, yes, you can do your Grand Prix now, like as you always could. You can now race between the tracks. So you can have 4 races set up and you can drive between races in like an open world.
There's like an open world element to it. Now, they didn't really show off... They showed off a bit of the open world bit, but they didn't really show off how it works between the Grand Prix.
No, but they did say there is a free roam mode as well, so you can just free roam.
Yeah, which they showed off with some of the online stuff that we'll get to in a bit. But they also showed off a new game mode where you would do one track and then you move on to your next track and then onto your next track. And it was kind of like a countdown. So if you got past the first track,
it was an elimination.
Oh, so the last person isn't in the next race.
Yes. So it would knock out 6 people every time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which I think is quite a cool.
So I like that. That sounds like a mix up of the system.
Is it enough? Like, what's your guys' thoughts on the open world?
I mean,
I like it because I quite like the Forza Horizon games.
Yeah, but I like that they're doing new stuff with it because I remember thinking Mario Kart 8, what else are you going to do? But it does look like they've done a lot of stuff.
In the open world, it's a bit like Skate, where you can do tricks to earn stuff or find stuff. There's little collectibles you can go out and drive to find. Maybe if that's how you unlock characters and stuff, you go and find them out in the open world, then it'll be worth it. But if it's only to go between races, it's not going to be worth it.
So that's my concern at the moment. Based purely on what they've shown, I'm kind of like, what do you do in the open world? It doesn't look like you do much.
I'm hoping it's a story mode. That's what I'm hoping for.
And you drive between your races. Yeah. I like that. Like Road Trip Adventure on PS2.
Yes.
Goated game. I want it to be like that. I want it to be able to go around and unlock different car parts like that. But I don't get the... Obviously, you don't.
Yeah,
I wonder if you upgrade specific carts for the characters. Like if
maybe
within a Grand Prix, because you get a certain amount of points if you come first, second, third, or whatever, can you spend them to do things to your car, like upgrade the acceleration or the top speed or the handling or the drift or the boost?
Could be cool, but
it could be cool, but I don't really see it because the way Mario Kart's worked before is you just pick the CC, don't you? You start with 50cc and then you go to 100cc.
But maybe that's what's different this time.
Yeah, but if you're not doing customizing, if you're not customizing your carts, then I don't see that happening. I still see it as the same thing.
I think as well, like going back to the open world, and you mentioned Forza, which I think is, I understand the comparison, but on something like Forza, driving each car feels very different, but also the driving of the car is kind of the fun. I feel like in Mario Kart, the whole game's based around driving, but if you didn't have all the people driving against you, I don't think it would be fun. I don't think just driving the car is fun in itself. It's people throwing stuff at you and it's dodging all this stuff and it's driving around a track and drifting and all that stuff is what's kind of fun in a competitive element, but it's not fun kind of just driving.
GTA style when you're driving, just get smacked about.
And that's what I'm worried about in this open world. Is it going to feel like, you know when you're playing the balloon versus mode when you're attacking people?
Yeah.
Is it just going to feel like the bits when you're doing that and you're just driving around trying to find a box?
Yeah, I didn't realise the customization had gone, if I'm honest, because
I didn't.
My brain went to Forza Horizon and the fun in that. I spent so much time in the open world doing Yet doing the challenges, trying to change my car to fit the challenges that were there, that was really entertaining to me.
Yeah.
So I can't get this car fast enough through this speed camera. Go and change it. Try again. Try a different one. What are they going to do if there's no customization to a car? What's it going to be?
And maybe they figured something out and they've not shown us. There's not been a direct on Mario Kart World yet, have they? They announced there was going to be one.
They did. In a few weeks' time. There's
so
going to be another one.
Maybe more comes clear then, but purely based on what we've seen so far, I like some of the ideas they've got, but I'm not sure whether it's...
I do like the new character designs.
Same.
I don't like Donkey Kong.
It looks a bit Mad Max.
Donkey Kong looks a bit odd.
I think Donkey Kong might be a bit more based off the Mario movie Donkey Kong.
He is, yeah.
And the new Donkey Kong, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
Yes, the new game.
Donkey Kong!
But, Mario Kart, great.
I do get the... I don't really know what the open world's for, but I like the idea. Everything that they're showing off, I actually liked, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll definitely play this. This looks really fun. But if there's nothing in the open world, it did kind of look like they were leaning towards the online aspect of the open world.
Yeah, like you're going to drive around and there's 24 people.
I do kind of wonder if the tracks are part of the open world too. I
would like that.
It looked like it, but yeah, we'll see.
I would like that too.
Because you could practice, or I don't know. I'm yet to be won over or convinced, but
I think I'm convinced. But
there's one thing holding you back, and I know what it is.
Yes,
which we'll get to later. So, what did they show next?
I think they showed the chat features.
It was mainly the console as well. Like
it was like
features of the console.
chat. Yeah, all the features of the console basically. So
now we know what the C button does.
We do.
Who was whelmed?
It's for chat. C means chat.
Is it speech to text chat, or is it they hear your microphone?
No, it's kind of like how the PlayStation one works, where it's built into the system. So you kind of just talk.
Turn it on and off.
Yeah, you can just talk through the switch, and then other people's voice will come out the switch.
Yeah, and then
that's an absolute nightmare online when you have accidentally left your controller mic on.
I know.
Well, PlayStation does it automatically. I had to set mine to
turn on.
Not do that because I did not want people to be able to hear me.
Is the C button a push to talk?
I don't know.
And then you can also bring up like a messenger as well.
You can, and it kind of almost looks like Discord in a way because you can do video calls too and share screens.
Yeah, which all looks very jank.
Very much so.
But it's not as jank as where you had to go through your phone with three cables.
No, of course, but
switch.
It just looked like a bit laggy. You could like share your screen, which I think is a great idea, but they didn't show it very well.
Yeah, I mean they zoomed in on somebody's screen and it was so out of sync.
Yeah, but that could have just been the live stream. It was.
But then again, I'm not playing when I chat to you guys when we're playing an online game, I don't have all your screens at the bottom.
No.
To show me what you're doing.
No.
It might work if you're on the TV.
Yeah.
And you have it on your Switch. Kind of like how the Wii U would work.
Yes.
But you can't put it on the TV without it being docked.
No, good point.
Yeah.
I hadn't even thought. Yeah, good point. So that don't work. Well, what kind of gets me is I've put this new button in there that literally does nothing unless you pay for the online subscription.
Yes, it does. I mean, it's quite funny as well because how out of date are they that they've only just come out with chat?
2025, and here's a revolutionary new chat feature.
Can you imagine 24 races all with chat on?
Oh, God.
Online.
I struggle when there's 4 of us in a group. Jesus Christ.
Maybe it'll be like proximity so you can swear at your opponents as you go around and then get instantly banned.
So as they drift, you can just hear like,
it's come back.
Like screamers.
I mean, it sounds like on paper it sounds good because they even showed off that like they had somebody using a blender in the background
and it muted it out.
And it like muted it out, yeah.
But does it?
Yeah. We don't know. It would be good if it does work like that. It'd be a very good feature. I'm just glad they're finally adding it because going through the app, it's ridiculous.
So what you guys?
I never even bothered to try it. I just got Discord out and talk to people that way.
What were you saying?
So what you guys will get is instead of woof woof no Loki, you'll just get no Loki. No Loki, no Loki, because it'll just get rid of the sound. So it just looks like I've gone insane, really.
No Loki.
Well, I actually kind of does it on my...
Can't find Loki.
Yeah, that's on my laptop for work when we're on Teams. Coco will start barking at something. And I just keep apologising, like, for what? And I always forget, like, muffles it out. But.
So after showed us the C button, they also showed us the new camera.
They did.
Peripheral.
The Piranha Plant.
You have to buy. You can buy a Piranha Plant version.
So that came after, but there is a Piranha Plant version, which does look pretty cool. I'm not going to lie.
They spent, again, a bit too long on the camera feature.
They did. So they showed off the camera and you can turn off your background. It didn't look great.
And that's what the extra USB-C's for.
I have to say.
But why? This is a games console. Why are you putting your face in the game?
Does the normal Switch have a camera in it?
I don't think it did.
No, I don't think so.
Didn't have a camera.
It has some sort of forward-facing sensor in the screen.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I know the 3DS had a camera.
Yeah. Because they had that game with the AR.
Yeah. The game that came with it for free.
Yeah.
Well,
we'll go there, yeah.
we'll go into that in a minute. So, other than the camera feature, the extra USBs, they showed that the controller could be a mouse, but we've already discussed that. Both controllers can be mice.
Yes. So
wielding mice.
So it turns out there's a lot. We'll get to this as well. There's a lot of some like PC strategy games coming to the system, which you could use a mouse for. Metroid Prime 4 is going to use it as a mouse. Yeah. I just don't.
I don't see it being used that
apparently
much,
it can work on clothes.
Same. Okay.
Just use it on your leg.
Because I was thinking, are you going to have a table in front of you?
No.
I was thinking, are they going to sell mouse mats?
I think they will.
It down your own face.
I think they will. Yeah. And the thing is, if you're playing a strategy game, you need a keyboard.
Yes.
So
I don't know.
No, they're going to.
That's an extra
£50.
Because most mice don't have the amount of keys that a Switch.
No, but if you're playing a strategy game, you've got a keyboard and a mouse.
I know.
But you have the other Joy-Con. How
often is the stick of the Joy-Con going to activate when you're trying to use it as a mouse?
It disables it when you use it as a mouse.
Yeah, I'm sure it tries to. But as soon as you pick it back up and can use the thing again, how often
I want to know how easy it is.
Yeah, accidentally switch it back on.
I feel like it'll be timed and then accelerometered. So if it knows it's like flat to the horizon, it goes into Joy-Con mode. Then if you put it on its side, then... But it'll be timed between the two. It won't be instant.
I think you'll have to activate it in the settings to get to it.
Yeah.
But going back to this strategy with the keyboard, I mean, with Civilization and stuff like that, they've got it working on an Xbox controller, so it'll work.
Yeah, it'll work fine. Maybe. Yeah. So other than that, they then showed the screen.
Yes, it's a bit bigger. It's still LCD.
Yeah, so it's a bigger screen. It's now I want to say it's now back to being LCD because the latest Switch was an OLED.
Yeah.
So they've kind of taken a step backwards, which I think is cost related.
It's just to release the expensive one later.
Yeah.
I think it's not that bad having an LCD in your handheld, just because how often do you need the deepest blacks in a handheld environment?
So the big deal with using OLEDs, which is what people are saying for things like the Steam Deck and the ROG and all the other handhelds, is using them outside. Because I can't play my Switch outside at all. Yeah. It's too bright. Now, the brighter the screen, the more you can play outside. But I know people still struggled with the original Steam Deck, and that's brighter. But the OLED apparently fixed that because it's, you get your anti-glare screens on it, but it's so bright you can clearly see outside. And apparently the Switch OLED was, just as good. But this LCD screen, it's brighter than the original Switch, but it's not going to be as bright as the OLED.
I kind of agree with both of you there. I'm really not too bothered if it's LCD because I'm usually not playing my Switch outside.
Yeah,
I'm playing it on an airplane or something.
Yeah, but are you not playing it outside because you can't play outside?
Yeah, maybe. But then on the same time, I agree with Brad where, the last one was an OLED. Why step back?
It feels like you
I think
backwards.
It's for the
upgrade one.
I think it's for that exact reason.
Yeah.
2 years down the line, they'll be...
Nintendo wouldn't be, money grabby.
Foreshadowing?
No.
What's the other thing they showed, Jake? They had a good old emulator on there.
They did. I actually didn't have that written down, so thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah.
So they announced...
My favourite emulator.
It's literally the one thing he was looking forward to. And he didn't write it down.
It's a good one to bring up because for the Nintendo subscription, they've been doing the emulators, haven't they, for the Game Boy?
Yeah.
It's probably the most recent one.
Game Boy Advance.
They've just announced
N64.
Yeah, they've just announced GameCube will be coming only on Switch 2.
I'm buying it for that reason alone.
Yeah, because it comes preloaded with Wind Waker.
Well, Wind Waker and F-Zero GX, the best racing game ever made.
So what was the other one? Soul Calibur.
Yeah.
And they showed that they're going to put Mario Sunshine on there.
Yes.
There's going to be Mario Strikers on there. You're going to have Chibi Robo on there. I'm hoping eventually that they'll put what was that game I was playing? Gotcha Force.
Oh yeah.
Probably won't because it's quite niche.
Yeah.
But Chibi Robo is quite niche.
Yeah. So after they showed all the new features of the Switch,
I will quickly just say that like spec wise, it sounds pretty good for what it is.
Yeah. Well, based on the games they showed later, which we probably won't spend too much time on, but like Cyberpunk's coming to it. You know, for all intents and purposes, people are saying it plays better than the PS4 Pro did.
Wow.
So granted, it might just be more optimized by now. A few years later.
That's true.
But,
that's true.
Still pretty cool.
Well, speaking of that, should we just go over that a lot of third parties came out. So obviously you mentioned Cyberpunk. I think we've mentioned Civilization, the new one that's coming to
Didn't he announce Silksong as well?
Sort of. There was
flashed up for a second and said 2025.
I think a lot of people love this direct just for that. All the Hollow Knight fans were like, "Oh my god, we got 5 seconds of Silksong," and it said 2025.
There was a lot of games. I mean, Split Fiction that's coming to it. There was quite a lot of new games, quite a lot of like a bit older ones.
Hogwarts Legacy,
which was already on Switch.
Oh, was it?
Just.
I was going to say, I forgot about that.
Did you say Split Fiction?
Yeah.
Split Fiction is,
So you could both play it on separate screens?
In theory.
Or can you do that already?
Yeah, no, you could,
in theory.
You'd have to have 2 Switches, but you could do that now. If I had 2 PlayStations, I could do that.
Oh, I thought you had to both play on the same screen.
No. You just can do either.
Oh, okay.
What else was there? There was a lot, though. There was a hell of a lot coming to it.
More than they've ever sort of attempted before.
A lot of people who have stepped back from the Switch, like the FIFAs and stuff, like I know they did bring those out, didn't they?
They're
limited versions of the same game.
Like Legends editions or something like that, where they didn't come with anything.
Yeah.
They literally just updated the teams. Yeah. And that was it. So after they showed all the new techie stuff within the Switch, they said, if that's confused you, don't worry, because we've got a welcome tour game coming to Switch too. Now, this welcome tour game, basically allows you to explore the Switch 2 digitally from within it, and you can
like Astrobot's Playroom.
The Astrobot,
a bit like Astrobot's Playroom. Yeah, but it doesn't look like you can do. Doesn't look as much like a game. It looks more like a tour. So you can see, definitely. This is a Joy-Con. What can the Joy-Con do?
Yeah, you're like a little guy walking on top of the Switch, aren't you?
As long as you're prepared.
Yeah. It looks like it should be free. But
it's okay.
And what really made me laugh about this is they kept saying in this paid game, they kept emphasizing that it was paid. They clearly knew that this should not be a paid experience.
And it doesn't even come with the subscription, doesn't it? The online subscription.
Well, they never said it.
Come with that.
Yeah, it should
at least.
Yeah. Every other system, PlayStation, had their built-in game. The 3DS had their built-in game.
I didn't even think about that until you brought it up before.
The Wii had Wii Sports built in some countries.
It did.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So after all this happened, a few people were digging up some old stories, and is it Reggie?
Yes.
Who used to work in Nintendo. He had to really, really work hard to force Nintendo and Miyamoto to put Switch as a pack-in with the Switch. With the Wii. Yeah. And they really fought against it, but he managed to get it included. I think only in the American one.
Yeah, because he was the American.
But how did no one force them to do the same with this? Unless there's something to the game we don't know.
I can't think. Who's buying it?
No one's gonna buy that.
It's based on
how many people bought 1-2 Switch? That was basically the same.
At least that was a game.
Yeah, it was.
So it has no game aspect to it.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
I don't think it does.
They must. who is going to buy it? It's like an instruction manual. And
the way it seemed was very virtual tour, didn't it? That was all.
Yeah, so it's a virtual tour of the system. And the fact that they kept saying paid game, and even all the press stuff afterwards, he's literally written out paid game. No other game says paid.
Cost?
No.
I've heard between $10 and $15.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
Most £5.
Yeah. But
I've never bought something
as an optional
before.
extra with it.
Yeah. Can you imagine if you bought a PC or like installed Windows and you had to pay extra for the instruction manual about how to install it?
Yeah.
Or anything, like I bought some furniture and it was like, oh, you got to pay an extra tenner if you want to learn how to build it.
Yeah. IKEA!
The thing is, I've lost my train of thought. This is... I can't remember what
we can actually sell you that train of thought back to you. £5.
That was it. So how many times, when they advertise a new game, I don't know, Witcher 4, and CD Projekt Red come out of the announcement on X or whatever else, and they're like, play Witcher 4, come in whenever, in this paid game. It never needs to say that because you assume it's paid. The fact that they've emphasized paid, they knew that no one would
assume it was paid. Free. Yeah.
And if you think people are going to assume that, maybe it just should be.
Yes. Yeah. Because this isn't a game.
So that was the first thing I was watching. I was like, really?
Start this downward spiral.
Really?
Sowing the seeds of doubt.
Well, to be fair, we're talking about it now, and I feel like we've maybe complained about a lot of the direct, but at this point, before this, I was like, this is... I was
really on a high. Even with this, I was like, I'm just not going to play that.
Yeah.
But that is ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. That was the first sign of what was to come. So they also announced the release date. We'll quickly go over that. That's June 5th. So that is right around the corner.
Imminent.
They announced that like randomly as well.
Right in the middle.
Right in the middle. Yeah. Like I thought that would have been an end or a beginning thing. Well, right in the middle.
With the price.
Didn't the pre-orders open?
You'd think they would have put the price in, wouldn't they? Sorry, what, Joe?
Didn't the pre-orders open as soon as the direct finished?
They weren't meant to. So everything said the pre-orders were starting April 9th, I believe. Yes. But then a lot of pre-orders went live.
Yeah, my friend texted me saying, I've got the Switch too. I was like,
so I don't know what? But the same thing happened with the PlayStation.
Yeah.
And I was really, really lucky to get one pre-ordered because by the time, I think I told this story in a few episodes back, but I watched the live stream for the PS5 announcement. All great, all buzzing. Pre-orders go live tomorrow. No worries. I'll pre-order one then. Went to bed, woke up, sold out everywhere.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they shouldn't have even gone live. So I was fuming. It seems like the same thing's happened.
Yeah, basically.
I feel like these won't sell out though, for some reason.
Well, I do believe that Nintendo did up their production quite significantly.
Yes.
So
I was just saying, if they kept the production the same as it was, I don't think it'd sell out.
Well, not anymore.
We will see. I don't know.
Maybe, probably, but we'll see.
So we'll get into some of the games they showed.
Yes.
Later. So the first one, which I'm not massive on, was is it Drag X Drive?
Yeah, so Drag X Drive, I think it's a novel concept. So in this game, it's wheelchair basketball, which is a sport. I think it's 3v3. You play with the two Joy-Cons as mice. You drag like you're rolling a wheelchair.
Yeah. And
you sort of use them, as gyros.
It's kind of like
the basketball.
Switch's arms.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think it's a really cool a novel idea. It's good for inclusion. People who are in wheelchairs get representation. All that's really great.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem like there's all that much to do.
It looked a bit quickly put together.
It didn't. Yeah.
To show off the mouse.
Even things like in the when the game had finished and it would show like the characters like dancing around. They're all doing the exact same canned animation at the exact same time, and it all just looked a bit like ropey, like as you say, it'd been put together very quickly.
Yeah. It looked all right though.
We'll see.
Yeah. Hyrule Warriors is getting a new installment.
Isn't this the third time it's come out?
So
they did a definitive edition on Switch.
No, they did.
No, this is a new game.
But didn't they do Hyrule Warriors?
So they did Hyrule Warriors, which was like
on Wii U.
Yeah, that was like old school Zelda, I think.
No, it's Dynasty Warriors.
It's Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, so in the time zone, styling.
Yeah.
So Link's wearing his green tunic. It's like
It did have its own style. It had
Skyward
like a blue,
Sword, let's say.
blue scarf on, and
but
everyone
it
had a
kind of
slightly different look.
It did have its own story, I believe.
Yeah, it did.
But it kind of mashed a lot of
Introduced
Zelda
a new
stuff
character.
together.
Yeah, called Seer.
Yeah. Then the next one they did was about it was like a prequel to Breath of the Wild. That was the next one they brought out, which wasn't a prequel by the end, if you played it, because I played it with Dulcie. And it verged off completely.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why it did that, but hey ho. But now there's going to be another one, and it's set before Tears of the Kingdom, and it's set thousands of years before Tears of the Kingdom.
So it's about the Sheikah War.
Kind of, yeah. I don't think it's that. It's about the war with Ganondorf years and years and years ago.
I know nothing about Zelda lore.
If you've played Tears of the Kingdom, Zelda gets transported to the past, and you're basically in that time. That's what this game's about. Okay. It's called Age of Imprisonment, and it's about that battle that happened thousands of years ago.
Did they show any gameplay?
Yes.
Yeah, I can't remember. How did it look?
It looked all right. Looked very much like the other ones.
How will they incorporate the mouse into this combat?
I hope they don't.
They probably just won't. Like, not every game will have it.
Yeah. Maybe just the slashing. You just move
the big one's going to just be first person, isn't it, with it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's all
RTS
I ever really going to do.
I wonder if you'll get Call of Duty on the mouse.
Probably.
Yeah, maybe.
Splatoon 4.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, for Hyrule Warriors, I just hope it has a way better frame rate, because
it did get really chuggy
on the last one. I can't remember. It was Age of Calamity.
Yes,
that got really chuggy. Especially we played it split screen, and that made it even worse.
Oh no!
You think it would, because it's Switch 2.
Yes, so hopefully it plays. It still played really well. Just hopefully the frame rates vastly improved. But it did look good. Next, which I believe Brad got very excited about because he texted me about it. It opened up From Software.
Oh.
I was going, is this Bloodborne?
Everyone in the world who's watching this was like, is this Bloodborne?
My God.
With Big Ben in the background.
Is this Yana?
Yeah. You could tell, maybe not straight away, but you could tell pretty quickly that it wasn't just Bloodborne. It looked like something else.
Inspired.
Or at least inspired. Obviously, it's From Soft, so it's made by them. I was thinking if it was Bloodborne 2, I was going to cry. Not cry. I was going to laugh.
It just wasn't on a Sony console.
There's a guy jumping like off the map. I thought like an Elden Ring crossed with Bloodborne sort of mix.
Yes.
So it's going to be open world Bloodborne type thing.
There was weirdly this guy in like a almost Iron Man suit.
Yeah.
Like a Mark 1.
Yeah.
Flying across the map.
Yeah. The guy turned into a T-Rex.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Just looked like another FromSoft game. Thought, this looks good. And then it splashed up on the screen at the end. Exclusive for Switch 2.
Yes.
And I was
it's called Dusk Bloods.
I thought, I'm sold.
Is this the one that's also multiplayer only?
Well,
so
Joe,
skip to the end.
Funny you should say that. At this point in the Nintendo Direct, in fact, at no point in the Nintendo Direct did it actually say exactly what you've just said. So at this point, I was like, I'm sold. Another FromSoft game. It's exclusive for Switch 2. I've got to buy it. That's me. I'm not getting a Steam Deck or ROG Ally. I'll get this because I want to play the new FromSoft game.
I will say it looked, graphics wise, it did look a bit choppy.
It did, but it looked like a FromSoft game.
Yeah. Speaking of, back to the third parties, Elden Ring's coming.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was the first thing they showed. I thought, yeah. So, as you say, Joe, it kind of was announced on the sly a couple hours after the press conference that this is a PvPvE multiplayer first experience by FromSoft. So, we don't know what that means exactly, but it's 8 players and it's PvPvE.
Because Nintendo Online is notoriously
stable,
very good.
Yeah. So this thing, they're bringing out Night Rain, which I've played and was good fun. Don't know whether I'll actually end up getting it, but it's a good idea. I'm glad they're trying it. You would then expect the next FromSoft game to be their standard single player offering, but it's not. It kind of feels like another multiplayer game. Do they need 2? within the space of a year?
Yes.
Probably not.
And what happens if you don't have internet connection? Can you not play it?
So this was the next thing. When I personally, this doesn't affect everyone, but personally, when I play the Switch, it's typically in situations where I don't have the internet. If I do have the internet, I'm usually at home and I'm playing my PlayStation or my Xbox or whatever. I'm playing the Switch, I'm in the car, I'm on a plane, I'm on holiday, I'm somewhere where I don't have a robust internet connection.
Definitely.
Yes.
So you're right. If this is a multiplayer only game, I cannot play this game in those situations, so I can probably never play it.
Yes.
So
Agreed.
now I'm not sold.
It does make me think, because there's a lot of online games shown in this direct.
There's a push for it.
Third party and their own stuff.
Yeah.
How are they going to improve their online service? At least make it a bit more stable.
Well,
I think with more third party offerings, will mean more server access.
Yeah, hopefully.
Rather than player to player. Yeah. Especially with the PvPvE aspect.
You would
so
hope
I didn't see all of it. Did they address the Joy-Con drift?
No.
They did not.
Did
that
they
was not
address it
mentioned at all.
I think
they fixed this
now that
exactly.
Hall effect sticks are becoming the industry standard, so it might have those.
They didn't mention it, but you would like to think, unless they've cut more corners.
I think they did show that they were bigger.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
They said bigger.
That was it.
Yeah, and magnets.
Yes.
The Joy-Cons attached with magnets.
Yeah.
So
and the buttons on the, what is it, LZ and RZ?
Yeah, like macros.
They're bigger as well on the Joy-Cons.
Okay, yeah.
They also showed a new Pro controller which had back panels.
Yeah, and the C button.
And this, of course,
and a GameCube Pro controller.
Yes,
to go with the GameCube
which
Pro controller.
Also had the C button.
Yes.
So yeah, back to Dustbloods. I've never been so hyped and then so disappointed in such a short space of time.
It is odd. It is odd that they're making 2 multiplayer games.
But hey ho. So what did they show next?
There's one big game that they showed at the end.
Well, 2.
I think just one. Well, Dustbloods was the first one.
Yeah, and then they showed the new Kirby.
Oh,
Kirby Air Riders.
Yes. So that was kind of
racer.
It was teed up as almost like a one last thing. The way he said it, like,
yes.
Have a look at this, and yet it came on as like Smash Bros. It's Smash Bros. Guys, it's Smash Bros.
Not because it was Masahiro Sakurai.
I don't even think they said that at this point. Oh no, they did. They did. It came up direct.
Sakurai game.
Yeah, it did at the end. It didn't come up at the start. So it basically showed Kirby's star falling,
and then it got jets,
and then Kirby lands in it, and then it gets jets, and he flies off, and it showed this like meadow, and then other Kirby's coming in.
Now I'd never heard of Kirby's Air Ride.
No?
So
it's a classic.
Yeah, so I didn't twig probably as early as it did for most people.
And then at the end it came with developer Sakurai.
But for me, great again for the people who like it. It feels a bit weird that
more of the same.
They've already got Mario Kart as like a launch title. Do they need another kart racer as a launch?
And they got F-Zero GX as a launch title.
Well, yeah.
There you go. I think I'm not too bothered. I know what you mean. Two at the same time is odd.
I'm sure it's different enough, but is it?
I think it's because it's going to be more of a classic kart racer offering. Whereas like Mario Kart World's going to be doing a lot of new things, interesting things.
Yeah.
Whereas if you want just a standard kart racer, you go to Kirby Air Riders.
Yeah.
Or you put Mario Kart 8 on again.
Yeah. I think it is a risk, and really risky that they've not actually announced a new like 3D Mario game.
Yes.
But I was expecting Mario Odyssey 2 out of this.
Or something. Yeah.
Mario Sunshine 2.
That was
a day in Nintendo.
Yeah. You cowards. You won't do it.
I don't think it's
triggers.
I don't think it's necessarily bad that Kirby Air Riders 2 is coming out, because Sakurai's doing it. He must have wanted to do it, and he's been working on Smash for how long now? He needs a break on something else. I think the last game he did outside of Smash was that Kid Icarus game.
The one on 3DS.
Yes.
I get it, but it didn't need to be. For me, this could have come out next year, because it's probably ready, but they could have sat on it, not announced it at the same time as.
Yeah, I get that.
Released it next year, and I don't think it would have.
It probably plays a lot different to Mario Kart.
Yeah,
I imagine it probably plays
weird,
more so towards F-Zero, but I've never played the original, so I don't know.
But after that, what did they announce?
So this is the one I did have written There's going to be a new Donkey Kong game, but it's going to be 3D, which I think hasn't happened since the Nintendo 64.
It hasn't.
Yeah.
So
and it looks like
crazy.
That one was basically Banjo-Kazooie reskinned.
He basically looks like the Hulk and he's just smashing through everything. It's called Donkey Kong Bonanza, which is a great title.
Oh yes, like
great
bananas.
title.
I think it looks all right.
I think this looks ace because you were basically just smashing through rocks. You could basically dig into like levels.
I like the idea of it. Yeah, it looks some of the texture work looks a bit naff. Where when he like breaks the rocks and he picks him up, like there's like no texture on it. Maybe it gets better over time, but
I mean,
I get it.
It just like a big destructible environment. It almost looked like in the style of Mario Odyssey almost as well.
Maybe interesting to see how far they go with it.
Maybe that's the 3D Mario game we're just talking about.
Maybe it is. Maybe
Mario's in it.
Maybe
at some point.
The bad guy.
I think. I think it looks pretty good. It'd be interesting to see the scope of it. This comes on to our discussion later, so I won't go too much into it. But it is a cheaper game, than some of the others. So that makes me think, why?
Yeah.
But I guess we'll see. It was quite a cool.
This one,
closing.
This ending the direct made me go, well, I guess I'm buying a Switch 2.
Yeah, at this point, I was very much, I'm buying a Switch 2. I think at this point, I'd probably text you that I wanted to get one because of Bloods and other stuff. Shall we get into the aftermath?
Yes.
I was a bit meh at this point because it's more of the same to me. I
you have
my
a
Switch
Steam
in
Deck.
a drawer, but I have a Steam Deck, so yeah.
So I was always thinking, am I getting this or am I getting a portable PC?
I also think it's, if you're not a big Nintendo fan, you don't particularly like the games, there is no point.
Yeah, I don't need a Zelda box.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
So for me, when Dusk Bloods was announced, I was like, well, I'm not that fussed about Nintendo property, but this looks great.
Yes.
But would you spend that amount of money for Dusk Bloods?
Well, I can also see the other stuff I can get there. I was thinking, I'll get Mario Kart and I will play it. You know what I mean? I'll get the next Smash if they ever do it. I'll probably then get the next Pokemon. Now, there's definitely things I can get.
Yeah.
Using that sort of a gateway. Joe, you've said before you want to get it anyway. So I'm assuming
just
at this point,
to continue playing Nintendo games.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they are something you're really keen on.
And,
it
was the same with me, kind of, even though I've not gone off them, but I just don't play them as much.
Yeah.
Because if I get the Switch 2, I was...
Jake's growing up.
Yeah. Move on to Astro Bar, apparently. But if I knew if I got the Switch 2, then I'd definitely get Metroid Prime 4, whereas before I was a bit like, I've never played the other Metroid Primes. Do I get this?
Yeah.
And if I got
you could get it on regular Switch. It's not exclusive to Switch 2.
I could, but my Joy-Cons are drifting, speaking of that.
Yes.
So I need new Joy-Cons. Yeah. It's kind of an excuse to get a new console.
So after this, anyway, we're all in other than Ben, we're all in a similar position. We're all probably going to get it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then they started announcing some things that weren't in the showcase, some things that you could tell they were purposely left out of the showcase.
So one being the price of the Switch 2. Now, I don't think they announced it.
I think they did, but they said that you'll find more information about the Switch 2 when the website goes live, and a lot of it came from the website. Now, I'm fine with the price.
Of the price of the Switch 2, yeah. So it's $3.9 in the UK anyway. It's $3.95 for the Switch 2, for the console. And if you get it with the Mario Kart World bundle, it's $4.30.
Yeah, which I think is fine. We expected it to be about 400 quid. We hoped it was going to be 350.
Yeah, I wanted it to be 350.
Yeah,
but it wasn't.
Isn't that what the Switch cost when it came out?
No, I think it was more like 300.
Yeah,
or just shy.
It's not going to have only gone up by 50 quid in that many years.
I think the OLED was 350.
Yeah, but I saw that price. I thought, fair, okay.
But you also think, I know obviously inflation, but you also think like parts get cheaper. That's why like usually a new console costs the same as a older console. Obviously they've all gone up.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
But
historically,
So I was fine with the price of the console. Bit more expensive than I wanted, but I was still all for it.
Interestingly, off the back of that, as we said before, pre-orders are due to go live on April 9th.
Yes.
Except for the UK, apparently, because they're already on offer. Now, somewhere else, they are definitely not on offer, and April 9th does no longer apply, is America, because Nintendo have pulled the pre-order date because of tariffs. Now, they don't know. Everyone suspected the cost of the console had gone up because of tariffs.
Yes.
They're now saying they've pulled the pre-order because they don't know what they're going to do. Because the tariff announcement came the day after the Switch 2 announced.
It did.
So now they've pulled the pre-order because they're reevaluating. Now it's potential that it could go up in price.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Historically, you always make a loss on the console to make your money back on the games. But if they're just losing even more money to sell it in America, there's just no point, is there?
It's crazy because I thought it accounted for the tariffs everywhere.
Now by the time this episode goes live, we might have an answer.
We might do.
As of recording it, we don't have an answer. They have still said the release date's going to stay the same.
Yeah.
But the pre-order date's changing. So stay tuned for that one.
We will see.
Very interesting.
They might have another $50 added onto that.
Yeah.
The big thing is the game prices.
Yes. So I saw this leak beforehand in other currencies. And I thought, surely not. So I saw it in dollars first.
I think you were putting in the Discord about like you'd heard that it was what, $80, $80.
So
and I was laughing, going, nah.
The leak I saw was it was $80 for digital games, $90 for physical games. Bear in mind that doesn't include tax as well in America.
Yeah,
you have to then add that on.
Yeah.
So obviously panic sets in. What's that going to cost over here? Now it has come out. What is it?
£67. So for Mario Kart World, which is the most expensive game, their top tier game, I think they're calling it, is £67 digitally, but £75 physically.
Yeah. So the 67 is pretty in line with current games.
Yeah.
Well,
how much are games these days in pounds? I never usually buy full price.
Usually, if you get it digitally, it's usually 70.
Yeah.
Then usually you can get it physically for 60.
Yeah, so we've kind of inverted
So
that.
they've kind of swapped that round.
It should have always been the way that it is now. Cheaper online, more
It should be, yeah.
It should
be. You've got distribution.
Yeah, but what they've done is they've upped the RRP of their games, essentially, or of games in general. This £75 will be the most expensive single game released.
Yes, the most expensive standard game release of all time.
Madness.
For Mario Kart.
And this is where you get onto the question of, as you say, for Mario Kart. Like, don't get me wrong, it looks good.
It does.
But when you compare it to other AAA games, AAA being obviously the games that cost the most amount of money.
Yeah.
Where you can maybe argue they could warrant it because you can see where that £75 would be going. Can you really argue the same for Mario Kart?
We've said it on the podcast. We've brought out GTA at $100 before.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
And I've laughed it off going, it's not happening. It's not happening. But now, it very well could.
But at least...
I'm still stuck with it.
At least if something like GTA 6 came out and they said it was 75 quid or 80 quid or 90 quid, at least I could point to where the money has gone.
Yeah.
Development. I can't do that with Mario Kart.
It's going to be a massive game.
Yeah. Like Mario Kart...
A lot of money's worth involved in that kind of game, whereas Mario Kart, for me, I'll burn out in the first week.
No,
to be fair, you might, but
some people
I know
wouldn't.
A lot of people
thinking
have
about
replayabilities for it.
Mario Kart, the Mario Kart 8's been going on. How long's it been out now?
Oh, too long.
Since Wii U.
Yeah.
People
you think about how many years we got out of Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Yeah.
Well, like developers and publishers and stuff, they will be the first to argue that game prices haven't changed in 20 years, 30 years. And they're not wrong.
I mean, they have, because
they have, but not like not enough for inflation.
They've gone up by at least 10.
Yeah.
Actually, this is now in line.
The new generation.
Yeah. However,
with inflation, I did a calculator thing while I was at work the other day, an inflation calculator, which aren't always the most accurate.
It's not like wages have gone up. It's not like.
No. However, I would argue.
Mario Brothers, the first game on NES, released in 1985 at $25, which is now equivalent to like 75 quid.
However,
so it is the same price.
I would argue that
just had cheap
same
games
price.
For ages.
I would argue till my dying breath that in 1980 whatever there was a fraction of the people playing games.
That is true.
A fraction of the people. So they cost more to make these days, and all that. But if a game came out today and sold 1 copy or 100,000 copies, it still costs the same amount to make.
It's not like you could have DLC back then either.
Yeah. This is the thing. So not only are there significantly more people playing, that literally costs the developers or publishers zero to get into these people's hands. Then you've got the other forms of monetization that you've just discussed. There's so many other ways. So one £75 game isn't £75 really.
No.
When you factor in the DLC, the online cost, everything else.
Yeah.
So really, then you go way beyond what the calculator suggests.
To me, Nintendo games, yes, they don't come down in price.
Yeah, that is the other thing. They don't.
So
they don't
that's a big thing too. So you're buying Mario Kart physically for £75
forever.
Yeah. Whether you like it or not, apparently.
And it might even go up.
Yeah. Yes.
Because some like Pokemon Diamond and Pearl and Platinum and all them, they went up in price over time.
Because you can't get hold of them.
You can't get hold of them.
So yes, they might. In the past, the prices might not have come down, but they were cheaper. So you can buy. I had a look before we recorded. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on Switch is £50 on the store. It hasn't come to. It's still. That's how much it was at release. So why has it gone from £50 to £75? Why has it gone up by 33%?
Because Nintendo.
Like, it's gone from PlayStation and Xbox are selling games at £60 physically, £70 on the store. And they're a bit more expensive. And instead, Nintendo haven't gone up to their prices, which I would have been maybe a bit iffy on, but I'd have been okay with. They've gone over.
Yeah.
They've gone
keeping
over.
up with the market.
The worst part is...
Yeah, if they were keeping up with the market and they went up to their prices, fine. But they went above and beyond.
Yeah. The worst part of all this, like, for one, Nintendo usually don't get a lot of flack for this sort of behavior. They usually get a pass. Now it seems that they have got flack this time, and all of their comments, people are bombarding it with lower.
Well, apparently there was
price.
a Treehouse presents after the Nintendo Direct, and it was showing off Mario Kart World, and it was just spammed with people going, lower the price, lower the price, lower the price, lower the price. Great.
But the annoying thing for me, like the worst part of all this, is Nintendo doing this sets that precedent now that other companies will do it.
Exactly. Well, that's
so now
back to the GTA. FIFA's going to be £75 now to buy.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is going to set let's say this is best case scenario, it might set a precedent that there is no standard price for games. Because you said that Donkey Kong one is a cheaper game.
Yeah.
Kirby's Air Ride is a cheaper game.
Yeah.
Why is it only that the Mario Kart one is the only one that's going to be that price?
I don't know.
It's just a tipping point.
Games these days, some games are just cheaper. Like Elden Ring was cheaper when that came out. That wasn't.
And that's a huge game.
You know what I mean? So some games are just priced cheaper and differently, but there is always a ceiling. And no one ever dares go past the ceiling. Now Nintendo have. That's going to set precedent.
The only thing that I can think of is why it's so much is because it might include future track packs.
No, it's not. It's Nintendo. It's Nintendo. It's not going to include future packs. It won't. Maybe 10 years later.
For looking at them.
Yeah. The thing is, we've just talked about virtual tour costing like £10.
Well, yeah, you're right there.
Maybe this, because of the backlash, maybe it puts other people off. Maybe.
Well,
but if it still sells well,
I still think it's going to sell well.
Yeah.
It will. We'll
get the majority of the numbers from the Switch sale, though.
In the first year,
because it's cheaper.
True.
Then
all the gaming fans, all the Nintendo fans are going to buy it.
Yeah.
I think it'll sell well in the first year. It'll be telling to see how it sells.
Yeah, because Mario Kart 8 is like in the top 10 selling games every month.
I'd be more interested to see
kids at
year.
Christmas. That's why it sells well, because it's the one with the guy with the red hat. Yeah, those like that, don't they?
But when it's
but now
£75,
how much is it though?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll get him the knockoff.
Yeah, back in my day,
I'll get him Kirby Air Ride instead. I think that'll sell there.
It's
in with red shoes.
So it was at this point that the Duskblood announcement of it being multiplayer only and these prices came out, that I was like, I've never turned around on my opinions so quickly.
They didn't even
been sold, and then
I know they didn't even mention it in the direct about how much they're going to cost, because they knew the backlash, surely, or at least some backlash.
They've got it.
I don't know if they expected this much backlash. I've said it so many times, and I can get on a proper rant with it. But Nintendo, why have you? Why is it Nintendo who have broke the ceiling?
I've literally heard this since the
every day I'm saying to them.
I've just had it pecked at my head constantly.
Oh yeah, it's
but why?
We had quite a.
If it was GTA, it would have made sense if it was like an extra.
Somewhat made sense, yeah.
Somewhat. Yeah. If it was a little bit extra, but Nintendo.
I mean, me and Joe
They've jumped it.
Me and Joe had quite the heated debate on the Discord, didn't we?
We did, yeah. I've since come round to your way of thinking.
Yeah, victory. Well, after all this came out, then
I'm still going to buy one.
Yeah,
that's fair.
That is fair. This is the thing. I think I'm just venting my frustrations because I was so close to buying one.
I think that's it.
I reckon by Christmas there'll be a real fancy pack that'll trick all of you into buying one.
Maybe.
There'll be a new Zelda sudden drop of this magical gold version of this Switch 2 that everybody needs to have. So
after that salvo of disappointing news, they then had more in store for us, didn't they? Which just made it worse. So it was sort of a series of small things. So the loads of existing games are getting Switch 2 upgrades. Yes. Some of them are free. Great. Some of them are not free. Not so great.
Extra $20.
Extra $20.
So PlayStation gets some flack for the £10 upgrades, which, sometimes is warranted.
But also sometimes are significant upgrades.
Yeah. But now...
And they're years and years and years later.
Yeah. But now it's like $20.
If you want to buy Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Switch 2 edition, it's $80.
$80. So that means
it's a 2-year-old game. $80.
So
it's
now
the full price.
So now it's going to have the same Mario Kart price. So it'll be $67 on the store. Yeah. It might even be more on the store. Yeah.
Or it's a $20 or however much, maybe £15 upgrade.
I swear I bought it for like, what?
60 quid.
60. I think it might have been 55 on the day of release.
There's some other games that are newer that are on the free upgrade path.
Yeah.
But only free if you've got Nintendo.
Also, side by side, the Tears of the Kingdom upgrade doesn't look that much different either.
Oh, no. It'll probably run better because there was some frame rate issues.
Yeah.
When you got a lot going on.
All you're doing there is fixing a broken game and charging
how it should have been.
Privilege.
Yeah. You don't need the upgrade. You could just play the Switch 1 version on Switch 2 and have a better experience.
It's like if CD Projekt Red said, now you can buy Phantom Liberty and that's going to fix all of the frame rate issues, but you've got to pay us more.
But you got to buy the DLC. Yeah. Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Madness.
Also, can I interest you in this training video?
Yeah.
How to play Tears of the Kingdom, £5.
And then there was the announcement, which this is what not the straw that broke the camel's back. It was long broken at this point, but it affected me more than I know it affected you, Joe. Was the battery life being less than the original Switch?
Yes.
And I'm just kind of thinking, yes, games are more impressive now and they'll probably drain more battery and all this, but also battery technology has come on a long way since 7 years ago. So yes, you might not be able to fit a massive battery in, but you could do other things like an OLED screen that takes less battery.
Yeah.
There's all the things you could have done.
Replaceable battery packs.
That could be quite a good idea. Yeah, something that slides out. It has a small motherboard battery, so that when you take that battery out, it can run in a standby mode while you change it over and shut down. There's loads of ways they could do it.
Yeah,
but
I'm not too bothered about the battery life personally because I have an external battery,
and it doesn't affect me because I don't play for long enough. But there's enough people it does. It just feels like
I'm just thinking
back.
For some parents buying a Switch for the kid, a Switch 2.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to buy the Switch 2, and then they're going to have to buy an extra battery pack because they know it's going to run out in the car.
Yeah.
Then they're going to have to buy these £75 games. Or if they want to get it digitally, which, physical's dying, clearly. They want you to buy it physically. It's a bit cheaper, but still. And then you're going to have to buy a case, which
come with a case.
Steam Deck comes with a case.
I think all of the PC sort of ones do. I know the Steam Deck does, and I'm pretty sure the ROG Ally does.
And you have to pay for online.
Nice case.
You have to pay for online.
It's a very nice case.
Play it with a friend.
I feel arguably they are more fragile systems as well.
I don't know, because
there's no actual PC running in there.
Granted, I've never actually held one, but I always find the Switch feels flimsy because of the Joy-Cons. because they're not attached.
They are made to survive like a 5-foot drop, though.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like playing it, they feel a bit wobbly and not.
Yeah. What did you say to me the other day, Ben?
It's adult Switch.
Yeah, that's it.
Steam Deck. It's an adult Switch because your thumbs don't hurt in the first 10 seconds of using it because they're in the wrong positions. Your hands feel full. They feel like they're actually.
But the Switch 2's bigger, so maybe that solves some of those. But
it is still flat.
Yeah, it is.
It doesn't have it doesn't have a palm swell.
Yeah,
like the Joy-Cons that I bought from. Oh, I'm not going to say because I probably count as sponsor.
So
third-party Joy-Cons that fill your hands, they're such a good upgrade.
But all in all, I felt like they came out with such a strong showcase, but it was strong because of what they withheld.
Yes.
And when they've announced all that, there's some people that'll still get one, like Joe, and that is great because you are plugged into the Nintendo ecosystem enough. Like there's enough games you want to get on there.
If you're playing the Switch enough, then it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. But I needed to be convinced because there's not enough Nintendo games short of like Smash Bros, which they might never do another Smash Bros. Yeah. Maybe. But if they did, I would probably buy a Switch 2 at that point. Maybe it'll be cheaper. But
just one game.
It will not.
Yeah. But I don't need one. And I'm like, I can just get a Steam Deck or a ROG Ally. I can get all my Steam library. I can get my Game Pass that I already pay for on there.
Mm-hmm.
Do all this. Games will probably run a bit better and last a bit longer as well.
They're going to have to just do... But I feel like it's probably going to sell well for the first year, but they're going to have to do sales on the games.
It'll sell because it's Nintendo.
They have to start lowering the price. Or I don't think it's going to...
Do you think it might be because of the game card system?
I think
because you only have to buy the game once for like 5 people. To be able to access it.
Maybe. Well, they haven't given you a lot of time to play. 2 weeks isn't.
Yeah, but then you can just do it again.
Keep doing it, yeah.
I'd rather they didn't have that system and everything else was cheaper as it was.
And I can just give my games out. But I don't know. Clearly, they want everyone to buy it physically. It must cost. It obviously does cost them a bit to put them on the cards.
Well, here's the other thing. There was information that came out afterwards where I think I saw it on Reddit. They zoomed in on one of the advertisements for the game where it's not even on the card.
Some aren't.
Yes. So some aren't even on the card.
Yeah.
Some are just, you put the card in and it lets you download it. It gives you like a key to download it digitally.
Basically what discs do now, where most of the game is downloaded from the store anyway. So, but that was one of the better things about having games on card is because it could run from a card faster than a disc.
Yeah.
Well, now they're not even putting a whole game on the card, which is essentially a big SD card which could fit a game on it.
And most people, they're just not going to do it. Third parties.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk are doing it, I've heard.
Yeah.
It's all on the card. Yeah. But a lot of people won't.
No, because it's effort.
Yeah.
But I think that's pretty much us exhausted.
Yeah, I mean,
I have one other thing.
Okay, go for it.
It wasn't said in the direct, but I feel like if they're so focused on having a portable console, why have they not put cellular technology in the Switch?
Yeah,
if they don't focus on multiplayer,
agreed. That is big.
Yeah, even if it was just
a Nintendo SIM card.
Yeah. Even if it was just
really good idea
for it.
Start your own network.
Yeah, and that's part of your monthly subscription.
Yeah.
Or like a better version of it.
Yeah. I think the monthly subscription's going up.
The PS Vita had a cellular version. Granted, it was only 3G, but that was what the technology was at the time, and it ran really well.
Yeah.
For the people that bought it.
Better than going mobile data and sharing, what's it called, public hotspot.
Because if it's their own network, then that's all it's for. It's not running all the other traffic through it.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just quickly end it on it's when the Switch 1 came out, it was a very novel thing. There was nobody else was doing it. But now there's so much competition that to me, you would only buy a Switch 2 for Nintendo exclusives.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I can think of to buy it. That's the only reason I'd buy it.
I was trying to put you off doing that.
I was excited by the games, but I'm not so excited about how much they cost now.
Yeah.
So to me, I was going to buy it initially, and now I'm going to wait and see.
Yeah. Switch U.
Yeah, Switch U.
So
they should have called it the Switch Up.
You could have called
because they reversed the game prices.
I'm glad they called it Switch 2 because imagine if they went with something else again.
True, yeah.
And
the Twitch.
Like the Wii U didn't sell well literally because people just thought it was the Wii, but like a pro version.
Yeah, just a tablet for the Wii or something. Yeah. But so that's enough about Nintendo Switch. Yeah. Believe it or not, we do have a Buried by Backlog section this episode. Yes. But before we get into that, let's do some socials.
Very quickly, yes.
So you can find us if you Google Gaming Garnish or Gaming Garnish Podcast. We will appear everywhere. We've got a Discord that's amazing. Anyone can join, chat away.
Been really good.
Yeah, no, it's always always a good laugh. We're on Blue Sky, X, Instagram, Facebook. We do YouTube videos in quotation marks.
Yeah,
we put a YouTube video on, and it's got an intro that Jake made, which was lovely, but it is just our audio for now.
It is.
Yeah, that's everything. Find us anywhere. So with that, shall we move on to the Buried by Backlog section?
I think we should.
So this month's Buried by Backlog section was brought to you by me. And I chose Eternal Strands, which was a game that came out quite recently. I think
very recently.
In February.
Yeah.
It's on Game Pass. I think it's on everywhere else. It's just on Game Pass. So that's how we played it, because we get that essentially for free.
Mm-hmm.
So Eternal Strands, 2025 action-adventure game developed and published by Yellow Brick Games. It's essentially a third-person action game where you weave spells into your normal melee and ranged combat. And there's a story to it, but the main aim of the game, I suppose, is to hunt down these big monsters and gain their powers in a way.
Yeah, it's kind of like a sandbox, isn't it?
Yeah. Multiple mini sandbox areas.
Yeah.
So, what did you guys think? Top level thoughts?
Well, I will say the theming is impeccable all the way through.
Yeah.
They love fabric.
Yes. Yeah. The powers are called weaves.
Yeah. The weave.
And you weave them into your combat, and everything.
You have a strand on your back. You're called the point.
Yes.
As in the point of a needle.
Yeah,
I didn't think about any of this, but yeah.
The way that
you've got the loom.
Yeah. Loom bands.
Forgot about those things.
The way what is it called? The way they scry is actually a loom.
Yeah,
if you look at how it works, it's like the loom that goes across, and that you see people travel across it.
Yeah, very, very clever.
Yeah.
So my quick thoughts are a game with some great ideas and concepts, but stumbles with the fundamentals.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah, completely agree.
Yeah.
I first fired it up and I thought, I'm not going to be playing this for long, to be quite honest.
Well, to be honest, I probably share the same sentiment. So when I saw the sort of like gameplay trailers for this, I thought it looked really cool. And the reason for that is because they front load in the trailers anyway all the best bits, which is fighting big monsters.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But when you start the game, you get a bit of a story intro, which is fine. It's presented nicely enough.
Yeah,
I love the little anime bits.
Yeah,
it looks good. I like the way they talk to each other.
Was cool.
Yeah.
And then you had the text bits, but then
I like the text.
Spoke.
I actually like the text bits very well.
And there's dialogue trees and stuff, and I believe you can actually like romance and sort of like, get relationships.
It's all very well voice acted as well.
Very well voice acted.
Yes.
So it presents itself really well. But then when you start playing, it sort of throws you in a linear level, and you don't have a lot of powers. You start off with the ice wall power and like the gravity throwing sort of.
Yeah.
No, what it did was it threw you into 2007 where you had an Xbox 360. That's what it did.
So when you were playing, the combat feels a bit jank when you're just going against normal enemies. Normal sort of like guys running at you. It doesn't feel great. Now you're trying to weave your powers in here and there, but it doesn't come together very well. The first time it really comes together is when you go against one of those big guys.
Big creatures.
So shall we talk a bit about like combat in general?
Yeah, so I think we should probably break it down to small guys, big guys.
Yeah. So it all plays the same.
It does.
Like fundamentally, you're doing the same thing. You've got a sword, you swing with the sword. You've got a parry and a block with the sword and shield. You've got three main weapons, You've got sword and shield, you've got a bow, you've got you've got a big two-hander,
Two-hander,
So with the sword and shield, you can attack and you can block. Yeah,
the
parry does feel really good when you pull it.
It does, yeah. It's quite easy to pull off as well. Then you got the bow, which is a bow.
Yes.
Is
string.
Is
most
awful.
cheesable weapon.
Yeah, it was a bit awful. I like bow and arrow.
I thought it was all right.
It was all right.
It's very, very weak, but you can get it.
I thought it was really strong.
We can get it better.
I got a fire arrow, bow later, and it was.
Yeah, I did too.
Then you can, like, kick as well, can't you? So your alternate thing for that was kick, and then
That's all I ever did while I had the bow out. Crap again.
Later on, you can get the two-hander, which is just a big, slow swinging.
Which uses all of your stamina.
Which I thought felt.
And I was
great.
right at home.
And then there's a second attack for that, which was just an alternate.
You'd charge it up.
Well, you could charge it, but then there's like an alternate attack as well, I think.
Oh, okay.
Just slightly different move. You could charge the small sword as well.
You could.
So at first, I thought it felt a bit
meh. It doesn't put its best foot forward.
No.
Because you don't fight a big creature for the first 2 hours.
Probably, yeah.
So you're obviously against these little creatures.
Yeah.
The lock-on didn't feel great.
No.
Because...
I never locked on.
I didn't even know I could.
Yeah. It just randomly turns off, and it's not... You can't, like, swap between people very easily. It just isn't great. And then,
it's also geared towards fighting big things because you climb.
Yes.
You climb on things. When you jump, you grab onto it.
Let's get to talking about the big things, because I think that's where I'm probably going to spend most of our time chatting, because it is the best bit of the game. So
I do think you just have to bring up the small creatures. It's not. It doesn't feel great to fight those.
No.
The aggro range on them as well is incredible.
Yeah.
As soon as they spot you cannot run away from them.
You're just kind of like wildly swinging almost, and it's not like it doesn't flow right.
No,
it's hard to explain.
Yeah. So when you get to your first big guy, I'll get to that in a minute, I suppose. But you get to your first big guy, it's a big statue looking thing, it presents you with like a setup for you got to take this big guy down, and for this guy you're gonna have to knock most of his little armor pieces off to do big damage.
It's like bolts on him, doesn't it?
Yeah. So as Ben said, you climb him essentially. So he's swinging for you, attacking you, and the way you want to knock these things off is you climb Breath of the Wild style. Climb on anything, you just push towards it or jump on him, and you'll just start climbing. A little stamina meter will appear, so you can't hold on forever, and you'll climb. Every time you swing your weapon while you're climbing, it drains more stamina.
You can swing your weapon while climbing.
And I think it was really cool the way it worked. So you climb up his leg, or for example, one of my favorite things to do is they would slam down and you'd switch to your ice ability and you'd freeze his arm
to the floor.
And the way it was animated, there was so many different variations to this. They would trying to pull their arm away. Like you could tell they were really trying to break free from this ice, which was great.
Or if you didn't connect it to the floor, they'd try and shake it off their arm when they got back up again. That changeover was great.
And you might be climbing up them, and then they'll reach you with their other arm to try and grab you and pull you off.
And now that was the jank point.
I found that fine.
Had so much range on one of them.
I remember.
The second one with the staff. You could graze the finest hair at the end of your strand, you would end up in his palm, and it takes so much health off you when he throws you. And it goes so far.
Well, even things like it would come up, hold R trigger to grip on, and I'd be like, what's that about? But then they'd start trying to shake you off. Yeah. And if you don't grip, you'll just get
You do get shaken off, And
things like that, I found then climbing them created almost like a mini game in itself. You're trying to climb efficiently so you could get to the bit you needed to break without using all your stamina whilst dodging them trying to take you off. And so I thought that worked really well, especially for that first guy. There was an unfortunate repetition to it, weren't there?
Yes.
Which I think you're getting at. So once you get a weave, an ability, if you want to upgrade that ability, you can upgrade it two times. So you can upgrade it to level 3. First time you have to beat the enemy. Second time you have to beat the enemy again, the same
but he's
one,
a bit better,
but also in a specific way sometimes.
To unlock
and the third time you have to do it again. So there's a bit of repetition where you kind of have to kill the same guy a few times, and it can get a bit
soul.
You have to knock out certain bits, don't you? And then it's like
there was an order, wasn't it? I found it was an order.
It depends. So every monster had a very, very specific way you had to beat them if you wanted to take the power.
Yes.
So first time you just had to kill them, easy as pie. Second time you had to work out you have to like find. Well, yeah, you could find stuff in the world that you could use to essentially find the puzzle of that monster. So there was one. It was like a big dragon. It was an ice dragon thing, and in order to get his power, you had to knock off all the ice crystals that were on his body and his tail, and then you had to burn off his mane. And then once you'd burn off his mane, then it would show the thing, and you could.
And to figure this out as well, it's not like you were stumbling around trying to figure it out. You would you would kill the first one, and then you take it back to the base, and then
they tell you about a little codex entry about it.
Yeah, so they'll give you a codex entry. You'll read through it, and that's how you figure out what to do.
Yeah,
which is cool.
It was. Yeah, I liked how it's set up.
A little backwards and forwards.
Yeah,
but
And again, to make it a bit less repetitive, is every time you go into a world, it'd be a different time of day, and there'll be a different effect. So sometimes it'll be a drought, so everything will be really hot, everything will set on fire really easily. Sometimes it'll be a frost bite, so everything will be frozen, or
it's just pain in the ass.
And then there was loads of other ones, like I can't actually remember.
Without the right armor, you suffer if it's cold, don't you? So it adds an extra element to you.
So I like that, because sometimes you might look at one on the task board and be like, that guy's going to be too hard at that time of day.
Wait, there was a task board?
There was collectibles in the world, and as you got the collectibles, it unlocked. So before you teleported to somewhere, it would give you like a list at the side of like what the big creature is in the area at that time, the weather effect.
Oh yeah, I do remember seeing that.
Yeah. So sometimes you'd look at one and be like, I want to hunt that monster because I want his thing, but that's going to be a bit challenging, so I'm going to do a different one. And I thought that worked quite cool, because also some monsters would appear in areas, and then sometimes another monster would appear in that same area. So it wasn't always the same.
It was the nighttime, different creatures altogether came out.
Yeah. So when you went back to the base, time kind of like progressed, didn't it? So there'd be like the day cycle would go morning, afternoon, night, and then there'd be a new day.
Yeah,
you could rest at your tent as well to change which one you wanted to spawn in at.
That's true.
But some of the big creatures, you kind of had three archetypes. You had the statue types, you had the dragon types, and you had the four-legged sort of like ground-based beasts. And the dragons.
I hate the dragons in this.
I thought they were amazing. Like
they're too much fire, man. And everything sets on fire, and the area of effect of the fire is too big. The ground is just glowing red a little bit.
Jesus.
There's no fire there, and now I am on fire.
You can get a potion too.
You can. I actually noticed that the fire dragon, I swear it's breath homed. You know, like when it shot a fireball. And
it predicts where you're going to go.
Yeah, I was
if you dodge as it hits you, you don't take damage. You just get flung.
Right.
I didn't.
That's what kept happening to me. I was looking at it and going, right, it's heading towards me. I'll run this direction, and I kept going. I swear that's moving.
You could get a house between you or something like that.
It burns it and it sets on fire, and then
but at that point you can run away. Like you can get it to hit the house.
Not when the whole lake's frozen. You can't.
True. But all the destructible environments were quite cool, because everything did like breaking, fire spread, and all that.
I will say the best fight I had in it was with the ice dragon thing.
Yeah,
it was like feathered. I don't think it was really a dragon, more like a bird. Because I was jumping on it, I was slashing at it, and then it'd take off and would go to a completely different area, and it'd land, and then end up fighting it there. Then it'd blast me somewhere, and I'd fly across the map, and then I'd have to, but it kind of took over. So you were trying to explore the area.
Yeah, and you can't.
You can't. As soon as that big creature spots you, and it's on you, and it's doomed. You have to deal with it.
The only way I could get away from the ash drake was to go to the next area, and it de-aggroed. But as soon as I went back in the area, it aggroed again.
But I thought
part of the issue as well for me there, because it was very Souls-likey. So when you killed everything and came back to the area, it's all alive again.
Yes.
So you filled your pockets because you needed to get the elements. You went home to drop them off and come back, and you got to fight everything again.
That was one of my.
There is a roguelite element about that, because you can only save 5 things if you die. So if you've got 4 pockets and you don't use the item to get back and you get killed, you got to select which most valuable
I quite
things.
Like that risk reward.
Yeah, definitely.
I thought that was cool.
You were saying there about fighting that big beast, and I think where the game shines the brightest is in those sort of like player created moments, in a sense, where that was a big epic boss battle that wasn't scripted. You know, I had the same thing with a different. It might have been the same enemy, but I was climbing these like giant sort of like castle walls, trying to get the height on it while it was like flying down and attacking me, and then you'd jump off and try and land on it whilst it was flying, and you would be attacking it whilst it's flying. If you attack its wing or froze its wing, it would make it crash. So you'd be trying to like force the big dragon to crash down, and then you'd freeze its wings still so you could like hit on it and it can't take off.
I just enjoyed freezing its head because it squirmed so much.
You freeze the head and then sometimes they try and burn it off if it's a fire enemy. Otherwise they're stuck and they're trying to like wriggle around trying to.
That's true. I also like some of the combos you could do. So there's this gravity ball thing. And then if you put fire in there, it ball builds up and then explodes, and that does massive damage. So I was just doing that all the time. But it was
some of the powers really worked well. And it was very interactive, and you could. They
were the best elements. I don't think all the powers kind of worked.
No.
The second gravity one is useless.
No. This is what I mean. The ball one,
the gravity well.
No, the one where you put it on an item and it pulls things around it inwards.
But if you put fire in there, it like builds up and then explodes.
See, I upgraded it to get that before I even unlocked the fire. I was putting on stuff. I'm like, this is doing no damage
beforehand. Yes, definitely.
You had to put things in it so that they were causing damage inside it. The little, did you get the little fire guy that you could summon? If you put him inside it, Christ, the damage was mad.
It was. but him himself, like the fire drone, I wasn't expecting to have that.
I think a bit of a weird ability, but I think some of them felt a bit weak, but the way you weave them together is what worked. But something I wasn't expecting. So I was thinking we'd use all these powers and that'd be the primary damage dealing. I didn't realize that when later on in the game, when you start unlocking elemental weapons, they end up also doing elemental attacks. So I had an ice sword and an ice sword and an ice big sword. And both of them had a special ability that would do an ice wave. Like a big slam, and it would like cause loads of ice walls to come up. So that
does that take up your weave meter when you do
this? It does, but it was easier to then weave in because I could have my fire ability equipped.
I'm already sick of you.
I could have my fire ability equipped, but then still use ice with my sword. So you weren't having to constantly change, and I thought that worked quite well.
Definitely. I wish some of them worked a bit better. The standard fire one was good, but you had to basically it's hard to explain. You locked into position and then just had to hold a fire, and you couldn't really move that much.
I get you.
It'd be cool.
It was like holding a blowtorch.
It'd be cool if you could move around a bit more.
But it was cool
like with the ice one, but with fire.
But I like the way all the elements interacted. So if there was something fire in the floor, you could put ice in it to cool it down. If there was a big ice wall you couldn't get past, you could melt it. There was all things like that I thought worked really, really well. And this is, I think, coming back to what you were saying before, some really good ideas. But some of the execution just wasn't quite there.
One thing that annoyed me is when I was cooling down the floor that was on fire, which spread out across the whole forest.
The ice
walking on my ice damaged me.
That
should not be the case.
I agree. Just, again, little things.
There should be a neutral bar. Take it from fire to ice. You should be able to sit in the middle where you put it back to normal.
100%.
I think
it just hurts to stand on the ice, doesn't it?
What this game has been really good for me to do as well is I can really now clearly explain to you, Joe, how I would want Monster Hunter to play.
With no combos, only 3 weapons, and
I would prefer it. I'd prefer it with the magic and stuff, but it's the things like the climbing on them. You know what I mean?
You can climb monsters in Monster Hunter.
But I mean, if it was more like this,
damage in the air,
where you've got these big monsters you want to fight, and the weak points on this bit, or you have to reveal the weak point by damaging something. You do a Monster Hunter, but you have a bit more control in this because you can climb on them. And if you had like 4 people fighting one of these dragons,
when you swing your sword, you wanted to slide 5 foot to the left. Was that what you wanted?
No.
Or walk on a slope that looked like a little grassy knoll that you slid to the bottom of for no reason whatsoever. I wanted to do that too.
I was imagining like playing this game with, say, 4 people fighting one of these dragons where one person could be flying on the dragon trying to ground them while everyone's waiting below. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was so almost there.
I get what you mean. I think Monster Hunter could take some of the elements out of it, but you should still play the same as Monster Hunter.
Yeah, but even like those, the way the elements interact could create a really interesting dynamic in that, and the powers, and But moving on from combat.
Well, I just want to quickly bring up one little thing with the little guys. So as you go through the story, there's a lot of these robots.
Yeah.
The Archons, which are fine, but this is what didn't make me finish the game. There's some of them that I believe you have to like temper. So you can do this to rocks and stuff. You can like set fire to rocks and make different materials.
Yeah, so if you kill an enemy, you get certain materials. If you temper them, which means basically set them on fire, freeze them, or gravity them, hit them with an elemental ability before you kill them. They're tempered.
So there were some white Archons that you just did no damage to them.
The ones with the shields.
Well, there was ones with shields which you could do damage to, but then there was white ones with shields, 0 damage if you hit them with a sword.
Yeah.
Even like some powers, 0 damage.
Yeah, and other ones.
And I was like, so you've got to temper them or ice them or make them cold or something. It seemed just to be so inconsistent.
I couldn't figure it out, There's probably something...
Could you not even throw them?
You could throw them. So what I ended up doing, and this is how tedious I felt the small enemies were, I would literally just be picking them up and throwing off the map and going,
that's what I was doing,
I just can't be asked for this.
Especially with the archers. They got pinpoint accuracy.
Yeah.
The archers were a pain and they run away from you, but...
Yeah. Even while they're shooting, they can dodge.
Yeah.
If you shoot them back, they dodge everything.
So that was my experience with the little guys by the end. I was just off the edge, running past them.
I found it really helped when I got the two-handed sword. I thought that felt a lot better than the other.
It does send them flying as well.
Send them flying, and you destroy things in your way because you're like swing through stuff and it destroys everything.
That come a cropper on me actually, because I was trying to swing at something and it destroyed the floor I was stood on. It swings like completely underneath you as well.
But how cool is like having all these different mechanics in a game?
Yeah,
it's just again, it's the fundamentals.
Yeah,
it does all these cool things, the fundamentals, which I want to move on to. Some of the other things it's done really well. Crafting.
Yeah.
Yes, the way you make your weapons better is great.
Yeah. I actually think this is one of my favorite crafting systems. Yeah, so you've got 3 ways of interacting with your armor pieces, essentially. You can create new armor pieces from like blueprints and stuff. You can upgrade or you can reforge. So the way it works is you're finding materials in the world, let's say wood, and you've got common wood, you've got rare wood, you've got
different things.
Colors of wood, if you like, like you can imagine in any RPG. There's loads of different versions as well. So there's might be 5 different common woods, 5 different rare woods.
Some of them might give you better fire resistance.
Yeah. So then when you're first making your armor, you're essentially given, how does it work? There's like
there's like 4 slots.
There's strength, 4 slots. Heat resistance, cold resistance.
Yeah. And then there's 4 slots, which one will be like the wood slot, one will be the metal slot, one will be the
woven
fabric.
slot.
Yeah.
You'd work down them because the top one was a higher amount of an item, but it would tell you what the item was. So you'd need 5 wood, 3 metal, 2 something else, and 1 cloth. Yeah. That kind of thing. That's how you'd work down it.
Use any combination, so long as say you need 5 wood, it all needs to be 5 of the same wood.
Yes.
And you put these different wood, metal, whatever in, and it'll give you an item and it'll say it's got so much heat resistance, so much armor, so much whatever. Great, you make the armor.
And it changes the color.
And it changes the color. And then later on in the game, you might get better equipment. So instead of making new armor, you can then reforge it. So you can go back into it and be like, okay, now I've got better wood, I've got legendary wood. So I'm going to change it out, and they'll just upgrade.
Have you got legendary wood?
That's what the women say.
But no, it's really
it's a really cool system because I like the way you're not always looking for a very, very specific.
Also, you didn't have to swap all of them out. You could just do the wood, the metal.
It kind of made it so that like you would kind of almost spec weapons and stuff. So you would have.
Oh, this is a fireplace.
Yeah. Oh, this place is covered in ice, so I need my ice equipment. So I would take all your ice equipment,
but cold resistant stuff.
You wouldn't have to rebuild the ice equipment every time. You just have ice equipment, and then you can upgrade at any point.
Yeah,
you have standard equipment, upgrade at any point.
The way
2 of them.
The way you went
don't
out
need
into
to make 2. Yeah,
you don't need to.
The way you
but
went
you really
out
could. You could lay out your sets, and they didn't cost very much to make, if that makes sense. Like, you could easily do it. The one thing that really bugged me on that was I really liked the second set of armor that you got with the hood up and everything. I thought you looked ace in it.
Cold resistant stuff.
But I then got a helmet that made me look like a flipping robot, but it was so much better.
Yeah.
I had to wear it and ruin my look. I was mortified.
Transmog might have been nice.
Yeah.
But what I liked about the system is it created a risk reward for all your expeditions, because you could only fill so much of your backpack. So you'd go out to get resources and you could only carry 20 different things. So at that point you might have to start dropping items for better items. But as Joe said earlier, if you die, you can only take back 5 things.
Yes.
So the teleport back takes a while to activate.
Yeah. So it can be one of those where it's a bit frustrating. You're going to and from, the base a lot. But I quite liked it because you're risking your gear because you want to hunt down this creature, before excavating with all your stuff. And I thought that worked quite nicely. Maybe not perfectly tuned, but it worked quite nicely, especially with that crafting system.
I found a bit of a trick with that.
Yeah.
I didn't get it down to a T, but it seemed to be if you had still about half health and you knew you weren't going to be able to get it back and you knew you were going to die, if you ran and jumped off the edge, you just respawned by the door, so you just left.
Yes. So I had this really frustrating
That's how I took all my stuff home all the time.
I had a really frustrating moment fighting some of the big guys, which seemed a bit unreliable, because sometimes I'd get the big guys really close to death and I'd fall off. Fling me right back to the beginning, and then I'll go back and it'd be full health.
Yeah.
But then there was another guy who I can't remember what it's called. Where you prime their ability, the ability to like extract the weave from them.
Yeah.
I'd
set remove that armor bit or whatever.
So I'd set them up for it, died, but then when I came back, he had full health, but that bit was still exposed, so I could just jump on them, extract
one hit kill.
Essentially one hit kill. So it was a bit unpredictable. Yeah. But there was a few times with that second statue guy, the fire one, where he flung me off the map. When he was
That's how I discovered it. Yeah.
But he was nearly dead and it did wind me right up. But all right, so shall we move on to like story? There's not much to really say on the story because I didn't get.
It's not great. It's okay.
It's serviceable.
I like the setup.
Yeah.
The
setup it does feel very D&D.
Yeah.
Like all the creatures look like D&D creatures. The characters are all like there's a bird, there's an Aarakocra bird person, there's like a bull person, there's a tiefling with purple horns.
You're a merry band
a
of
wild person.
Yeah. You're a band of like mercenaries, and you're trying to get into this magical realm that's been sealed off.
For a lot of time, a lot of years, isn't it? Yeah, you can finally battle the element that's keeping you out.
War.
So you get in, essentially. Spoilers.
By mistake.
Of the game, and then you're exploring. You're finding all stuff out. But I quite like the way, not so much the story, but the way the campaign's laid out, where it doesn't tell you exactly what to do. You have to kind of figure it out.
Yeah.
So I did not like that. I would rather have been given objectives and just be like, look, you need to go here.
But it
tell me where that is.
A bit more.
I found the objectives when you
got the name of the area, and then that was it.
It gave you the little magic trick to chuck up in the air and the streams of gold light.
Oh yeah, but the timer on that was bloody ages,
and they were awful.
I actually forgot all about that mechanic.
Yeah. So did I.
So
I thought I'd be able to do it like Isaac does in Dead Space, like just keep doing it. But you've got to wait like a whole minute to do it again.
Near the beginning of the game,
the first time it went into the cliff next to you, so you didn't even know where to go.
Near the beginning of the game, it gives you 3 objectives. Like you do a bunch of setup, you kill your big first guy, you get a bit further through it, and then you get 3 objectives, and you can do them in any order, but it'll say, explore this area of Upper Denevron or something, and that's you'd have to go. You can see it on the map. You need to go to there, and then there'll be something there, and then you'll be kind of walking around aimlessly for a while. So I probably do agree. I wish there was a bit.
All
more
you're
guidance.
doing is picking up like papers.
Yeah.
And that's it. You're being tasked to
Suddenly
go.
one of them's a weapon.
In that watchtower, I was like, I'm picking up a logistics book. What the hell?
Yeah.
And then it goes like,
here. Oh, wow, that means something.
you've done it, and you're like, what?
Yeah, I get you.
So there's not like the boss fights are just the guys that are in the area.
Adjacent to finding receipts.
And sometimes it's so annoying because you have to go back to the base to hand in your receipts. And then it goes, oh, by the way, there's something else there you need to go get.
You got to go kill that thing.
So as Ben was saying before, you go back, everything's respawned, including the big guy that you've got to deal with again.
And sometimes it's a harder version of the big guy.
Yeah. And it just got, and then all the small guys. Oh.
All the small guys.
And it just got a bit like, I didn't want to leave. I wanted to make sure I got everything before I left because I knew everything had reset.
See, I didn't play it like that.
There were things hidden as well, because if you went into a certain cave, you'd find a harder version of the enemies that were in the area that gave you absolutely loads of stuff for killing them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a cave that was clearly like set up that they couldn't leave, like it was set up so that
you'd
break find
the door off it.
But if there's hidden things, then I need to be able to kill the area and still have enough health to look around for these things. Or I go back and respawn.
There's quite a lot of health potions around. At first, I didn't think there was, but then the more you got into it, the more you could kind of find them anywhere.
That's how I ended up beating that second Archon statue. Dude.
Yeah,
I left the area and went and found some potions and came back. But he does chase you around the whole way. He's just slow.
This is it. They chase you around the whole map. Yeah. There's no getting them off your tail.
I don't think making it so they didn't respawn would be a great idea, because then you would be running around empty maps a lot.
Well, this is it.
But
it's set up in that way, and this is the fundamentals again. It's set up this way, and I don't know how they could change it.
I think if the combat with the smaller enemies was better,
maybe it would.
Then you would probably.
But I don't want to have to fight the big guy every time.
A button to press. You've killed everything. When you press it, it resets the area. That kind of thing.
On fire.
Or more like I know it's got a day and night cycle. So when you go back to the base,
you've got a day to look.
It goes from morning and afternoon. What if it just reset after a day?
Okay, that would be better.
That would be better.
So you had a bit more time.
Maybe a different big enemy could spawn at night, but you could avoid them a bit easier or something.
Yeah. And then the fact it's throwing like ice weather at you occasionally when you've just started the game. And you're like, well,
does it always look like this?
Yeah, I'll just go back. I'll just go back and come back again.
Okay.
Because
I didn't even realize that was a thing. And I went into one of the places, I'm like, my God, why is it just ramped up so hard? All of these things are killing me. I can't stand on anything. What's going on?
Chameleons that spit poison as well.
Yeah.
And the next time I went back, it was completely different. There was no ice. I was walking around just poking things in the eye with a sharp stick and winning.
Yeah, it was the second. I hated the second area.
The
first half of the first
Southern Path or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I beeline. All I did is got my receipts, as we were saying, and then left. But then Upper and everyone was a bit better. But then that got a bit tedious because there was so many little guys.
Yeah, fair. What did you guys think to the world design then? Like just the atmosphere. We've talked about how everything's very clever with.
I liked it, and I really liked the voice acting.
The art style.
It did just get a bit tedious.
Yeah,
the world to me looks like and feels like it was made in Fortnite's engine.
Yes,
the motion felt very Fortnite.
Yeah, it's quite a popular art style at the moment. That sort of I don't know how to describe it.
Like painterly 3D, soft.
Cartoonesque.
Yeah,
I like the art
I think
style.
It's a good job.
And I really like the text, the drawn out, where it was like a different art style when you talk to people.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like that art style.
The character portraits.
I don't think they would have gone too far wrong with having non-climbable walls in places, because one of the biggest things I found I was doing was thinking, I can get over here because that's where the stupid little twinkly lights are taking me. So I spent half an hour climbing a cliff to realize there's a roof that I can't get over because
like an invisible roof, isn't there?
Yeah, and that really frustrated me more than anything, because you're supposed to explore, and that's what I do.
Or at least put a damaging deterrent there, like spikes.
Is there enough?
So you can't climb over them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there enough reward for exploring?
No, I would say not.
I didn't find it.
However, I found the ice weapons and the fire bow from exploring.
Same.
So if there's more of those, which I can only imagine there are, and the armor pieces and the stuff,
Same.
It just looked like a ticket again.
But that's it.
Oh my god, it's a weapon.
Yeah, in the missions. And
I get you. Yeah.
If it was like glowing and it looked like a piece of a sword, I'd be like, oh, that's cool. I'll go pick that up.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it is that. It's just not presented.
Yeah, it just looks like a codex entry that you can find.
So I'd say the incentive for exploring is still there because you're still getting those rewards, but the actual the way you're interacting with it doesn't feel as good. Yeah,
definitely. I don't know. Sometimes I would explore and find something, and I'd find like a cave under like the Nevron part. I found this cave under it basically. I was like, this is cool. But I didn't get anything. All I got was materials.
There's a few moments like that I found.
And I was like, I've found this thing, and I just got, maybe good materials, but I was a bit like,
I get you. No, that could definitely be improved. I wonder whether it would be better if it was like an open world with a day and night cycle.
I think so.
Yeah. I think
like
so.
You could take a camp with you and put it down somewhere.
Maybe they were just a bit more limited because they are a AA studio. This is their first game.
Yeah.
I have to say, this is one of the things that got me to the point because I worked hard on searching all the areas in the first bit, and then in the second bit, I worked hard again. When I got to the third bit, I was like,
yeah, fair.
Just kill the thing and leave.
Yeah, I don't really want to do it again.
Well, with that, shall we move on? Because I think we've probably talked about all the different
aspects.
Shall we go on to final recommendations?
Yeah.
Do you want me to start, or do someone else want to start?
No, you finish it. We always do. The person who suggested it.
I'll go first then.
Okay.
As I said at the front of the whole section, very cool concepts. I really liked the crafting, as you said, because I don't like crafting games.
No, I don't.
Usually.
And we don't like you.
This was really good. I'd like to see more of this. Yeah. I'd like to see more powers mixing together. I'd like to see the climbing bosses and stuff was really cool. It just didn't come together properly. Ben says it a lot. I didn't get the drive to go back.
Yep.
You didn't weave it together.
I didn't.
Stop with that.
I had.
Okay, they didn't stitch it together.
I think I put about 10 hours in, and I had some real fun. As I said before, that big ice feathered dragon thing was the best bit of the game for me.
Would you say that you could see the seams?
Oh, yeah.
You could see them coming apart.
I could see the seams coming apart.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. Yeah. But then the thought of going back to the area and having to do it again, because I felt like I'd accomplished something. The fact that if I went back and it was all reset, I'd just be a bit like,
you just have to fight that same.
I'd have to fight that thing again just to go find essentially a piece of paper.
And that moment won't be the same.
Yeah, there's not
second time round.
There's not a lot of, I'd say, feedback, I suppose. You're not getting enough out of what you playing.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
So you would say this gameplay is not tailored to you?
I don't know. Maybe some of it is and some of it isn't. I think it's got some, I think essentially it's a sandbox. It's these guys' first game.
Yeah.
It's a new studio. I think it's got some old Mass Effect devs in the team. Yeah. So I'm very interested to see where they can take the next game with these ideas because it's very creative. And props to all the creativity that's gone into it. Very cool mechanics. But I can't really recommend it.
This is just revenge, isn't it?
It is. No, it isn't. I can't really recommend it.
Screw you, Brad!
If you just want to have a little fun and check it out, then sure. But the first 2 hours aren't great. So you're not going to have a great time in the first 2 hours. Then you'll start fighting some of the bosses and having a good time. But that's only going to last.
It's hard to recommend a game to someone where you have to get through a bit first.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then I do feel like the big beasts become repetitive in the end as well. So I had to put it, I thought I might finish this one, but I had to put it down about halfway through because
I did, to be fair as well.
It just wasn't bringing me back. So you might like it, but for me personally, I wouldn't recommend it.
Fair enough. Ben?
I did like it. And like we said before, there was some great concepts in it. There was some really unique ideas. I didn't get over the fact that I felt like I was playing a 360 game for quite a lot of it because of
energy.
Yeah, combat wasn't quite there. I was sliding down hills and climbing things I shouldn't have been, and it just seemed like it was not finished.
But
in
360
places.
era is the best era, Ben.
I don't disagree.
No, I know, it's fine.
But I would recommend it based on see the concepts, see it, because it is worthwhile just to see it. Even if you only put a few hours into it, it is entertainment. And I did go back until I just couldn't be asked.
Fair.
There's no other way of saying it.
I think it's definitely got a burnout problem.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see the stats on who finishes it.
Yes.
Yeah,
definitely.
Joe,
I would recommend it if it had some quality of life changes.
Okay.
Like if there was a way to somehow passively generate resource. Like say you could send someone out to look for stuff while you were going and just hunting the creatures.
Good shout.
I know it would remove some of the point of, you got to save all your resources, but having to go and find stuff every time went into the environment was becoming a pain in the arse. Climbing the monsters was great. I know what you say about having it be more like Monster Hunter. Like have that stuff in Monster Hunter. I would go the other way and say have the little creatures not aggro you until you aggro them first.
Yeah.
Because they're just like in their own environment. You don't get attacked by a wolf every time you go outside, do you? You've got to do something to annoy them. But every time I was traveling through or even climbing a wall, a wolf would nip at my ankle and then I'd fall off the wall and have to fight 3 of them.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Which was a bit of a pain.
Yeah.
I get it with the Archons because they're like protecting the realm or whatever, but the little animals were just becoming a thorn in the side.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed what I played of it. I only got to the second area, fought the Ash Peak Drake or whatever it's called. That was a bit of a cheese that I just had to fire a bow at over and over again because it just stayed in the air. Out of range of my ice power, so I couldn't really do anything. He does stay in
the air a lot. But the way you get his power the second time is you have to kill him whilst he's in the air, which is quite cool.
You have to like be on his back, don't you?
But there's quite a lot of ways to bring them down.
So I was just icing the wings
out.
I did that a few times, but then he just stayed out of range.
So
props to the AI for knowing that I was going to do that, and then
There's a big tower.
All the time.
There's a big tower you could climb as well. I think that would.
Yeah, the AI and the big creatures is really good.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'd say give it a go, but don't expect to get great mileage out of it.
Yeah,
fair. And to be honest, I think I probably agree with you all. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed what I played. The beginning, I don't think it takes 2 hours to get good. I do think the first sort of foot forward isn't the best with those little enemies, but I could still get through it. But maybe that's because I knew what was coming. If you don't, maybe not. I do think the big guys were definitely the highlight. However, I understand what you're saying is even they became repetitive, which isn't a good thing when your big selling point starts to become repetitive. And there was a few teething issues, like changing powers and stuff didn't feel particularly great. Sometimes you'd pick up the wheel to pick your powers and you'd select your power and it wouldn't actually select. And
it'd be better if you clicked the button rather than go with the stick.
Echoing a feel a bit of the 360 there.
Yeah, and I didn't like that you had to hold the LB wheel to bring up the ability to change weapons. And there was a few, it was so close. But it wasn't quite there. However,
great first game.
I think this would be the perfect example of a game where a sequel, or another 100%. Game that takes a lot of these same elements, you could really drive it home. We keep saying they don't have the fundamentals.
They've got great building blocks, but they didn't buy the instruction manual.
They've got the fundamentals for they've got the fundamentals for the new creative ideas that they've got. The sort of foundations.
I remember another frustration with fighting a big boss. Just have to say it. I didn't believe you should lose so much of your stamina bar just from jumping from bit to bit. You lost over half of it sometimes.
I wondered whether you'd upgrade that as time went on.
I didn't see any signs of it.
There was probably an armor.
I really wanted to get to the point where I had all the abilities and I didn't get that far, which again, it just became burnout. I think we all got, other than Joe's a little bit not as far, but the three of us, me, Jake and Ben, got to a similar point. I did those 3 objectives.
I did Upper Denevron and I think I did 2 of the 3 objectives that it gave you in Denevron.
I did 3 of those, but
I did that, but then started getting a bit lost.
Yeah. And I got to the point where it's like about 2 weeks ago, maybe even 3 weeks ago, I just got to the point where I was like, I feel like I'm done with this now. I feel like I can leave it. I struggle to leave games that I've not finished.
Same.
But this one, I didn't have a lot of trouble leaving. Because I wanted to move on to something else. Just is what it is. I would still recommend it.
In 10 years' time, you'll just forget you're playing it.
Yeah. I'd recommend. I
was playing that
game. I would recommend people give it a shot because it really might click for you, and those big battles really are something to behold. Something really good fun.
I can get behind that just to see the concepts because they are really good concepts.
And hopefully a lot of them move forward to other games. But it wasn't quite as good as I wanted it to be. But
I think if they just incorporated more of if they had more puzzles with the powers.
Yeah,
for like
maybe
those and stuff.
Maybe more come up the more when you finish your power wheel.
Yeah,
maybe you can weave them better when you can.
You were starting to burn out doorways that were frozen and stuff, weren't you? As it was starting to progress, so they were starting to bring some of it in.
You could use that gravity well ability to like do grenade jump essentially. To fling you really far. So I was using that to try and like land on the dragon when they were flying past and stuff. Cool.
It's very cool
moment.
Cool concepts,
So that's been Eternal Strands. 3 out of 4 recommend.
It was a bit on the fence for me.
3.5 out of 4 recommend. The next Buried by Backlog episode though will be brought to us by Joseph.
Yes, using my full name. Am I in trouble?
I know.
The next game is Dark Tide, a Warhammer 40k shooter game.
Yeah.
So look forward to hearing more about that in a month.
Yeah. May or may not have already started it.
Yes.
So
that's been us at Gaming Garnish. Thank you if you stuck around this long.
It's been a long one.
It has.
2.5 hours.
Good job that what we're playing section was short.
I know, definitely. Until next time.
See you later, guys.
Bye.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.